Welcome to the Vault Excel. Once again, Happy New Year to everyone. Bringing you continued coverage pertaining to the fires roaring out Southern California. Right now, there is an evacuation for Palisades area, Pacific Palisades. I'm going to bring you a little bit of an update, and I'll try to keep you updated during this live stream. Thank you for your time. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $BigAngie 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream. Right now, the fire spread to the Mandeville Canyon area. A mansion has gone up into smoke, basically. Very serious terrain there, as you can see, pertaining to the houses. Houses are very close together, as you'll see with most houses in California and other places in America. But it's a lot to digest. Steep terrain, you have to think about one way in, one way out, how many roads are available in these areas. So I'm going to bring you a little information pertaining to Mandeville, California. They have two fire companies, Company 2. The Mandeville Fire Department responds to approximately 6,200 emergency calls per year. The Palisades fire is currently being battled by over 3,700 fire personnel, including 20 helicopters and 460 engines, meaning other jurisdictions have sent in fire personnel to help battle these fires that are brewing and continuing to spread. The wind is relatively low at the moment, but the fires are still brewing and spreading. So right now, the fires that were brewing in Eden, Palisades, still, they have now spread to the LA area, Brentwood, ENCINO. This is not good. This is not good at all. Once again, Mandeville Fire Department has two fire companies. So that's what everyone needs to consider. You know, when it comes to fighting fires, you have to consider how many fire companies are in a certain district and how many men, women are working each fire department. Once again, LA area now is being affected. Brentwood, Encino, the fires have spread from Eden and the Palisades, and now they are in Mandeville Canyon. As I said, very steep terrain. It's very, very scary. Hello, Kareem. How you doing? Very scary situation. Let me get the population of Mandeville. Hold on one second, everybody. It's very, very, Lord of mercy. Just when you thought it would get better. Now, once again, winds are supposed to pick up, I believe, tonight into tomorrow. And then there are winds expected Monday night into Tuesday. So this is it's like there's no end in sight pertaining to the winds. Because right now they're saying it's low. The winds are low, but as you see, the fires are still brewing. The fire department is doing a really good job of being up there in the canyons, going to the base of where the fires have been starting and spreading. So when you go up there, they put out the fire. They've got the red fire retardant up there, which is still creepy because you have airplanes flying over with the retardant, but then you got your houses, of course, below where they're dropping this agent. I don't know what effect it has as far as airborne. I'm not really sure, but nonetheless, their houses. And after looking at one house, I mean, it's gone. What a mansion in this area. It is absolutely gone. This is a scary picture up in this area because it's steep, and you have to use common sense when they show you the roads that lead in, out. You have to use deduction, a worst case scenario, getting in, getting out. You know, when you move in places like this, in the mountains, in the canyons, you do need to think about how are you going to get in, get out. You got to think about emergency personnel coming in, fire department, ambulance, and I just don't think people really think about that. Hello, Scott. Thank you for joining us, honey. People don't think about that when they're moving somewhere. And it's just weird to me seeing these canyons. They're steep in there. I mean, to me, it's just like the mountains. You know, I live near the mountains. So I don't particularly care to live in the mountains. When I look at these canyons, I look at the canyons the same way. I don't want to be somewhere ducked off that can get stuck, mudslides. I think like that. I'm a city girl. I want to be on flat land. That's just me. You know, everybody's different. I think about, you know, as I said, how close the houses are. Then these people have swimming pools, and it's like you're right in, and your neighbor can look through the bushes. You know what I'm saying? And be looking in your house. So it's like all this money these people spend to live in California, live in these swanky areas, just like that, perched up on a hill. See, all that's dangerous, because you should know in life there's going to be rain, which causes mudslides, which causes, you know, power issues. And we have seen some horrible mudslides in California's history. So I think about all of that. I think about the earth giving way. We have seen that. I watched that about 2 weeks ago, California cliff. It just started breaking off. I don't know who took the video, but I'm telling you, the earth just gave way. And people actually build houses on those type of cliffs. So you have to think about that too, living on the cliffs. People want to live wherever, but I always question how, you know, greedy man is to want to cut into the earth, such as canyons and mountains, to build homes, businesses. They don't think of a worst case scenario. It's obvious. But we've seen the fallout from natural disasters such as heavy rain, mudslides, cliff caving in. You're stuck, and you got to pray that you're not in, the wreckage. If the cliff decides to give way, a mudslide, as they've been saying, the terrain is rough. So nobody can say fire departments, they ain't not doing their job. You wouldn't be going out there doing that. You look at the area view. These men are on a mountain in a canyon trying to put out the fire. They're cutting a line, which is going in and digging up the soil to the minerals as to stop the fire. That's hard work. This is worse than what I saw yesterday when they had the line running. They weren't like you're perched on a mountain trying to put a damn fire out. So, give these men some credit, because they're doing something that most people would not do. They're not on flat ground now trying to put out a fire with a fire hose. This is totally different. You can look at the terrain and see that's you can roll off of there. You can roll off of there. Just saying. It's easy to complain and say what people aren't doing, but you have to know the demographic that you're in, how many fire companies you have in your jurisdiction. You living somewhere like this, you might want to know how many fire companies you have. Well, you only have 2. Then you got to count how many people actually work for each fire company. Now, you start having 6, 7, 8 fires at a time, you also got to count where is your fire hydrant. See, nobody thinks about that, because it's just easier to complain and say what somebody's not doing. But you got to think about a fire truck getting up there, fire hydrant availability, water, all of that. It's going to determine putting that fire out in a timely fashion. Now, 6, 7, 8 fires at one time, you only have 2 fire companies in your jurisdiction. Just saying. Let's get the population of Mandeville. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Zone Excel. So the fires are still spreading. In case you're curious, they're now approaching the LA area, Brentwood, Encino. They also have a Mandeville City in Louisiana. Trying to get this California up. It won't come up for some reason. Let's see, Mandeville. It's very scary. Out of Mandeville, Quebec. Wow. Popular name. Mandeville, California. Population. Lord, I can't believe this is not coming up. This is strange to me. Still won't bring it up. Keeps bringing up Louisiana. Strange. Hope everyone's well today. I'm trying to find something. It won't come up for some reason. Look at the work they're doing. It's hard work. That's hard work. They're in those canyons trying to prevent the fires from spreading. They have to go down into the soil. So it's more than just watering with a water hose, for those that did not know. And once again, as I said, Mandeville, California, or Mandeville Canyon, rather. 2 fire companies, plus all the help that has come in from other jurisdictions to aid in these fires. That's a lot of work. And as they said, they want to get this done the best they can during the day before nightfall. As most of you know, there's a 6 p.m. curfew in the general area of the fire, so you cannot be wandering about after 6 p.m. 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. You cannot be wandering about in these general areas. They will stop you, law enforcement and the military. Mandeville, California, population. For some reason, this does not want to come up. This is strange. Because I think this is not Mandeville, California. It's Mandeville Canyon. So let me see what city this is in. What part of California they consider this. Hold on. Yeah, it's Mandeville. So let's see. Trying to get up. So it's Los Angeles. Sorry if I kept saying Mandeville. It's Mandeville Canyon. It says Mandeville Canyon is a valley in Los Angeles, Southern California. California has an elevation of 410 feet. Mandeville Canyon is situated nearby to the neighborhood Riviera, as well as Brentwood Park, in case you all are curious.
It's a vibrant community, a close-knit community here in the valley. Up on the Mulholland Fire Road up there is, where everybody goes hiking, and everybody, you see people walking their dogs and riding mountain bikes. I mountain bike up in there all the time. I hit the Fire Road, and then I take off north, and then I get down Sullivan Canyon, and I can ride down into Mandeville, and then you ride back up. It's absolutely beautiful terrain. You can't believe you're living in a second largest city in America, and you have this kind of outdoors activity there. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. Devastating to see what's happening there. Talking to all my neighbors, everybody's out of the area. They can't get in. But it's deeply, deeply sad. But I have so many friends, Alex, who lost their homes. I mean, upwards of 60 people I know have lost their homes, mostly in the Palisades area, and it's just, boy, it's tragic. They're all signing leases to rent places or trying to find hotels, and it's just it's emotional. People are mad, people are sad, people are angry. It's all kinds of emotions swirling, and I just reiterate to just be great. Think about these firefighters who haven't slept at all and what they're doing.
Exactly.
And the pilots, oh my gosh, these pilots are unbelievable.
Think about the firefighters.
They bring this stuff right out of the Encino reservoir and fly back up there in such coordinated fashion. It's, there's a...
Last count, 11 people have perished in these fires. Once again, condolences to those who have lost loved ones, those who have lost their homes, businesses, those who will be out of work from businesses that have burned up. And also there are people who left behind pets. You also have to think of the wildlife that runs around, wild animals. Their habitat is being tampered with. So that's another thing. The animals have to go somewhere. And that's why I said, we as people, is it really a good idea to live in these places? Just asking. Now, they call this the valley. This is interesting. This is what they consider California Valley. Now, naturally, it's not made like this Tennessee Valley, because we're down where it's, kind of flat. So it's interesting. But this is what they consider the valley. It's scary. Very scary. This is very scary. I don't know if I want to live in a canyon, just for the reason right here, what they're doing. Because you have to count being able to get in and get out. A worst case scenario, anything happens, road blockage, something caves in, how are you going to get out? Somebody needs to come in, rescue you. Fire truck, ambulance, I don't know that. One of the pictures I saw earlier where they're in this area, there was, I think it's a utility tower or something. It's sitting right there in the midst of the smoke, flames. So first thing I was thinking, well, let's see how bad this heat's gonna get. Hopefully it won't burn the damn tower down. It's bad business. And seeing the smoke and the flames come up in the canyon, near houses, of course, I'm sure a person has to use deduction. I better get out of here. I just wouldn't risk staying around. And I don't think a lot of people want to accept that. You think you're 3-4 miles away, you're safe from the fires. Hello, Skylar. It's still a hell of a gamble, even at 3 or 4 miles. You just think, well, it's not on my street. It's not, a block over from me. I'm not going to be worried. But you have trees, bushes to burn. So how long do you think it would take for the fire to spread? Then when all this happened, you had wind to escalate the fire the spreading, the embers. And that's why different homes and businesses were catching fire and some were not. The embers were flying in the wind and they just latched on to whatever. Boom, there you go. You have a fire. And yet people still would stay behind, even looking at their neighbor's house burn, which is strange to me because I don't know why you think your house couldn't catch fire. And then there are people who actually left their house and it was intact when they left, but when they were able to go back, the house is now gone. So imagine had they stayed. This is why you don't stay. And I'm baffled at the behavior of many people who won't leave. It's just very baffling to me. As I said, a fire and a flood, to me, they're the same. I just wouldn't risk it. They tell you this all the time pertaining to water. You see standing water, why would you drive through it? I mean, you're trying to guesstimate how deep the water is. So you say to yourself, well, I can see the other side, which is pavement, but that's not the estimate of how deep the water is. And a lot of people have found out the hard way. It only takes a couple of feet of water to move a car. Now you think about how heavy a car is. So if a couple of feet of water can move a car, imagine what a fire can do.
Captain Scott, can you hear us? Oh, I think we lost him again.
Wow.
If Captain Scott can hear us, we hope to get back to him. In the meantime, Bob and Maria, look at that. I mean, isn't this amazing to watch this? And shout out to our photographer, Armando Hernandez, who's doing a beautiful job bringing us these pictures of it, too, in real time. Just spectacular.
These are those big tankers, right? The VLATs or the very large air tankers.
Yeah, when you hear VLAT, you think that there's some really technical name. Right. And it just is very large air tanker. It just doesn't get old when you watch these, and Billy Bush kind of put it right. It's like a show of power and strength and resolve, and we know we have the ability to get through this. We have the ability to fight this. And it's also a reminder, at this time, as you mentioned, everybody's looking for somebody to blame, and we're in such a divided political world where people get different information from different universes and everybody's so against each other. I don't think there's any way that anybody could be against firefighters. You might be against some of the officials who are making decisions, but these men and women who are doing that back-breaking work, working hour after hour in all these different communities and literally saving lives and saving homes, it's one of the only things at this point that we as a community can all get together and get behind. And thank the heroism, especially of those pilots, Maria, who are really making a difference.
Exactly. They're flying against the most harrowing of circumstances, right? They're having to fly up there where the winds are quite strong, even on a day like this, having to maneuver around some of those stronger gusts there and through the smoke and everything, dropping that very important flash check. For me, when I watch those drops, it's like a light at the end of the tunnel. It gives me the hope that, hey, this might be over sooner, than we fear.
But to that point, can you talk about the winds that are not only coming tonight and then the winds that are coming on Monday?
Exactly.
Yeah. The forecast is right on track, which for the most part has been good. It's been advantageous, I think, for the most part, for the firefighters. We have had some winds that have been consistently blowing out of the northeast, 10 to 20 miles an hour. There are those pockets where you're getting some of those stronger winds, some of those canyons, those winds funnel down the mountains and funnel through those canyons and passes, and they just get strong. Those are
mountain waves.
Mountain waves, yeah. A little different from the mountain waves that we talked about earlier this week.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So Tuesday, Wednesday, we had such a recipe in place. When we talk about the mountain wave, we had every level in the atmosphere. Weather and the atmosphere is so different, right, at each altitude. And so on Tuesday, Wednesday, we just had high pressure at the surface, high pressure aloft.
So now you imagine, this is a close-up of the work the men are doing. And then that's your area view. So when you look at that, you now see this. This is that. That is this. When you look at an area view, you can't even imagine somebody in there, in those canyons, right there in the dirt, trying to get the line cut to stop the fire. Just an area view, you couldn't even imagine just looking at this photograph and say, oh, there's somebody down there in that, cutting through the soil so the fires can stop. And then they show you the close-up over here, and you actually see the men in it. It gives you, as they say, respect. You can't do nothing but respect the men who are doing this. Exactly. Because this is hard work. This is hard work. This isn't, like I said, standing on just the ground with a water hose. You're talking about moving your arm back, legs, digging up, cutting the soil to stop the fire. So the blame isn't going to help, blaming this one, that one. We get it. Everything's about the money, cuts. But this is why you can't afford to cut funding for something important, especially as they say, this is a desert. So you have the propensity for fires. You need to keep adequate funding for help. Perhaps you need more fire companies. That's another thing. But like I said, you can't have one without the other. In order to have a fire company, you have to have firemen and women. So somebody has to want to do this kind of work. Now you got to ask yourself, what are the stats of people wanting to be a fireman, firewoman? Don't know. Is this a job that many people apply for? And when you're dealing with this type of high terrain, you definitely need several fire companies. That's just common sense. You're going to have it. And as you see, the way that the terrain is built, they're going in. You don't see a water hose. This is manual labor besides the airplanes flying over, with the agent to put the fire out. These men are on foot going into the terrain, cutting the line. No water hose. Then you got to ask that question as well. Hydrants. What does it look like up in there where these homes are? How accessible are the fire hydrants? How many are on each street? I don't think I want to live in a place like that. I'll just keep it real. Beautiful. All of California is beautiful. It's like most states. Most states are beautiful. I don't think there's too many states that are not scenic and pretty. I've been to a few states. I didn't have a problem with most of the states I've traveled to say, oh, this is an ugly place. But you have to use common sense. As I said, getting in, getting out. Okay, so they do have a water hose. Okay, so they're putting in the soil. So I'm wondering how many feet that water hose is. Pardon me for saying they didn't have a water hose, because I didn't notice they were spraying that water. So I'm wondering if there is a tank, a water tank up there near them where they're getting the water from. It's just interesting to watch. Very interesting to watch. Yeah, I'm curious now. How long is that hose? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When you think about these places and they show you the streets, they'll have the line running across the screen to show you the streets, Mulholland Drive, all those streets. First thing I'm thinking is like being able to get in, being able to turn around. A fire truck is not your standard size truck. That's a big truck. Trying to go in. Now the truck has to be able to make his way back down the road. So he has to be able to turn around. Or if it's a narrow situation, he has to have damn good eyesight to be able to back the truck down the road. That happens a lot. In places that's narrow, the truck has to go in reverse. And trust me, you would not want to be going in reverse somewhere that's dark. So I have to look up close here. Okay, so that is a hose. Okay, because I remember yesterday when I was watching, I saw the guys, they were using tools. They were working by hand. The footage I saw yesterday. So this is an actual water hose in this caption. So forgive me for saying they didn't use a water hose. The work I saw the guys doing yesterday, I just saw them working with tools and shovels, and that's what I had Googled, and they was explaining what cutting a line meant. And I guess in that description they didn't say anything about using a hose, but now you see what he's doing. So they have a hose, and he's also chipping away at the earth with tools as well. So they're using a hose and tools, and as you see, it's quite a few men working the line. Cutting a line is what they call it. So I learned something new every day. I didn't even know what cutting the line was when they were talking about it. I say, well, let me search and get an understanding of what they do. So now you see this is what cutting the line means. Going into the soil, the minerals, they have to hit the minerals. So that's in the soil. So it doesn't spread to like these little bushes. That's what jumps off the fires. Because naturally it's dry. It's very dry. Then you have the wind, so they have spread the fires. So you look at something like this, it doesn't take long for a fire to brew, to get started. You know, the habitat, the fire, it latches on to whatever it can latch onto, and it just spreads. And you got quite a few men down there. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, they got quite a few. Several. Yeah, it's a lot of men. This is a lot of work.
Delia looking towards Mandeville Canyon. Below that fire break, below that fire retardant, it's Mandeville Canyon Road. And obviously there are homes up and down that road under a mandatory evacuation order. The fire looking much better in this section, but of course, we're not out of the woods yet with the Palisades fire. That's the latest. I'm Gigi Graciette reporting live. We'll send it back to you.
All right, Gigi, thank you. Really amazing to see. We do want to tell you about the evacuation orders. These have been extended, but also now there are new evacuation centers. Here they are, the new evacuation centers open after the Palisades fire did expand, and there were new evacuation zones. So there's Stoner Recreation Center, 1835 Stoner Avenue, and the Calvary Community Church. This is in Westlake Village. We also want to tell you about the community meeting, which is scheduled for tonight. There are 2 of them. One is...
I'll let that play. Then I'm going to show you something. Today's January 11th. Oaks Gymnasium, Westlake Village, California. Starting at 6:30. Calvary Westlake. Community meetings, if you like to attend, you're in the area. I'm going to show you a home that burned. It's 2 hours ago, this content. Channel 7 News is the source. One second, everybody. This is in Mandeville Canyon. Same place that you're seeing.
So you do see creep down And if we zoom in there right in the center of your screen, you can see there one of those edges of the fire creeping down. And I think that appears to be a structure. That's the first structure that I've seen. We saw a trailer a little earlier that may have caught on fire. This is the first structure I've seen. I'm not sure if this is a home exactly. We're going to try and get
looks like
the details on that, but this appears to be a home. It looks like there's a pool in the back, so that is definitely an unfortunate sight. This is the first structure I've seen burn in the past day or so, because it seems like most of this fire has been kept to the back country, even though it's continuing to burn, continuing to put up smoke. This fire has now moved into populated communities again, now on the east side of the fire, and we have our first structure burning here. This appears to be on the west end of Mandeville Canyon. You can see there Mandeville Canyon Road at the bottom of your screen. That's the concern right now. That's where fire crews are going to put up a strong fight. They have all those resources in there. They're going to work on structure protection. So you do have fire starting to creep down, and if we zoom in there right in the center of your screen, you can see there one of those edges of the fire creeping down, and I think that appears to be a structure. That's the first structure that I've seen. We saw a trailer a little earlier that may have caught on fire. This is the first structure I've seen. I'm not sure if this is good.
That was someone's home. Fire started burning. It says air spotted a structure burning in the Mandeville Canyon, which is the first time we've seen flames reach a structure in the area since the Palisade fire started burning toward 405 freeway. It does appear to be a home. Firefighters were seen making multiple water drops in an effort to save other homes in the Mandeville Canyon area. The tense development came as new evacuations were underway Saturday. Lordy, 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 Lordy. This is probably earlier.
I'd like to share important announcements about the county's emergency alert system and the progress that we've made with our partners in addressing the alerts that have been going out in error. Late yesterday afternoon, we distributed a press release that details some of the immediate improvements that are now taking place. Copies of this press release are available at the front of the room. First, we have made an initial determination that the erroneous alert that went out the first time on Thursday from the Emergency Operations Center was indeed correctly targeted to the right recipients. We believe that the problem occurred in the software system that accidentally blasted this alert countywide rather than to the targeted recipients who needed to get the information to safely prepare to evacuate. As we drill down with our vendor to establish the root cause and apply corrective measures, we are taking the immediate step of changing our alert and notification system to partner with the California Governor's Office of Emergency Services and the State Alert and Warning Center. The county's Emergency Operations Center is already tied in with the state's Operations Center and can actively issue emergency notifications in coordination with the state utilizing the state system. Second, on the issue of the echo alerts that continued to go out countywide yesterday after the first erroneous alert was corrected, we've been working tirelessly with FEMA, the FCC, the state, and our region's telecommunications providers, and we've made the preliminary determination that the echo alerts happened as cell towers came back online after they were knocked offline due to this disaster. The outdated alerts were cached in the system, and as they came back online, started being released to the public. We are very grateful to our federal and state partners who are working with the cell phone providers to make sure that all of these outdated alerts are flushed from the cell phone towers so that this ceases. We believe this process is largely complete, and we are working with our federal partners and the providers to ensure that there is not a reoccurrence of the alerts going out in error. This has been frustrating, unacceptable, and the public is in the most need of accurate information, and we are moving forward rapidly to reestablish that. I'd like to share some important announcements about the county's emergency alert system. And
them giving you the explanation pertaining to why the emergency alert was sent to certain locales by mistake. It has something to do with, I guess, the faultiness of all that's going on with the fires affected, I guess, the communications. If you believe it, everybody's going to have their own opinion.
And also government agencies here locally with the County of Los Angeles, just trying to, again, provide help and assistance to people who are impacted.
All right, that is so very good. And some of these images are just so hard to look at, so unimaginable. I think that's one of the supervisors there in Los Angeles calling it was an unimaginable night of terror and devastation. And of course, if you're able to, can you pan around, look at what we're seeing there in terms of some of these people? I'll just kind of give you the floor to kind of set the scene of what's going on there in Los Angeles.
Yes, so we have a long line. It's hundreds of people. I can't really see the end of the line, who are checking in. And they're going through and getting resources such as the ability to charge their cell phone with a portable charger, many other resources available there, diapers, other things. And this is sort of the second part of the distribution and help, which is providing food assistance, some produce, for really at this point, handheld fruit, apples and oranges, because again, some people don't have the ability to cook right now, some ready to eat items. There's some water, of course, and other items, because some people are under a water advisory here also. So this is East Los Angeles. It's a civic center. So it's a meeting place for this community here. There are many other resources available on a typical weekday. So it's a very central place to have this kind of distribution. And unfortunately, we have a lot of practice with this with the pandemic. We were here during the pandemic. This is one of the distribution sites ongoing to help the community. So that's kind of what's going on here. And it's basically a 4-hour kind of deal where people are coming this morning, and it'll wind down mid-afternoon. And we expect we'll be seeing many more of these types of distributions in the coming days and weeks.
All right, that is so very good. So very good to see people out there helping.
LAFoodBank.org.
That can be so very dynamic for this situation going on in Los Angeles. For people that maybe need help, need resources, seeing this on air, what do you need to tell them? And also, if people want to help, how would you advise them to go about that?
Yeah, so 211 is a great, actually national resource. Wherever people call 211, it gets connected to their local information and referral agency. So that's a good place to go. LAcounty.gov emergency is another place to find where all the evacuation centers. Of course, the Red Cross has activated, many of the other community partners here doing what they can at a lot of the evacuation centers. You can go to lafoodbank.org. Nationally, since the national program meeting.org, food banks around, but here in Los Angeles, it's all those food bank, labank.org, to find that foods, volunteer, financial support, and where to find food throughout this vast county. A lot of people don't realize the county of Los Angeles is nearly 10 million people. It's a huge population base. It's like a state, like larger than many states in the United States. So, with that, we do have a really, I think, good integrated, nonprofit group, faith-based group to help, and also connecting with government agencies as best we can. So that's where people can go to find out where to get help and how to help.
All right, that is so very good, because people, and just finding that is a resource in and of itself. On the other end, people that want to give back, people that maybe are in California, maybe not, how would you advise people to go about to help out, to see these images and want to contribute in some way?
Yeah, so lafoodbank.org is an option. NLA.org, that is the coalition of our emergency response partners, nonprofit of faith-based partners. That's a great place to find out who is doing the important work here on the ground here throughout the Los Angeles area. And again, I'd certainly highlight the Red Cross. They're always first in terms of dealing with evacuation centers and providing other support here. So those are some resources to take a look at.
Yeah, that is good. That is good advice, good news there for them. And I also want to ask you, Michael, before I let you go, because this is such an emotional time. People lost almost everything they own in some capacities, in some ways, for some people. What's the emotion like on the ground? Do you see a range of emotions? What are people seeing when they receive the help that they so desperately need, or also people, volunteers giving back? What's kind of the emotion there on the ground?
Yeah, thanks for mentioning the volunteers. This kind of event would not occur without all the volunteer help who's here making this happen. And they're essential to making all of this occur. I think here it's a sense of relief that there are people here willing to help and able to help. So I think that's one emotion. But, you know, I mean, we know volunteers who've lost their homes. We've had a staff member lose their family home and business in the Altadena area. And, you know, it's a really devastating time for many people here. So, you know, I think from a food bank standpoint, you know, we're here to help. So we're here to be part of the solution and do what we can. But as you know, that emotional support, spiritual support that people need, yeah, there are providers here who can help with that, because, you know, that's here now and going to be here with us for quite some time.
That is so good to hear, those volunteers giving back, even though they have lost all of their homes as well. So obviously, good job, good work for everyone at the Los Angeles Regional Food Bank. I'm going to let you go, Michael, but I appreciate all that you do. I know you're a busy man. It's a busy time in Southern California. Please stay safe. As always, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for covering this. We greatly.
All right, so it's a great conversation there. And even though some of those volunteers lost their homes, they were still going out and giving back to those in need. You can see this is a live picture there. The Mandeville area, the Fire Road. People go up there hiking near the Brentwood area near UCLA, if you're familiar with that in Southern California. All right, we're having another update coming in on another fire in Southern California, not necessarily the Palisades fire, but the Eaton fire coming up here in just about 50 or so minutes. Here's a post from the LA Fire Department saying a press conference, a community meeting coming up later on today. This one is going to be at 4 o'clock Pacific time. We're also expecting one coming up here in just a little bit at 2 o'clock Pacific as well, as they will provide an update on the Eaton fire. Fire and law enforcement officials will host a virtual community meeting to provide the current fire situation, address questions, and discuss recovery related to the Eaton fire. It will be streamed, and we'll take it here on Live Now from Fox in the coming hours. All right, I'm Andy Mack. We're going to slide away for a quick 2-minute break.
So the Palisades, Eaton, LA area, Brentwood, Encino, and Mandeville Canyon. 11 people deceased at the moment from these fires. Mandeville has 2 fire companies, Company 1 and Company 2. As you will see, if you go back to the beginning of this live stream, somewhere in there, you will see the men working diligently to put out the fires in the Mandeville Canyon, where a mansion has gone up in smoke. And they are diligently working, cutting a line, which is going into the soil to stop the fire. You have to go into the soil to stop the fire. And also you see them with a long yellow fire hose, fire line, putting out the fire using water and also cutting into the soil. Hello, dear. Thank you for joining me. It's a very terrible, terrible situation. Fox 11 is the source. Today is January the 11th, 2025, bringing you the latest information coming out of California pertaining to the wildfires. It is a devastating situation. I'm not going to stay on too long, but I wanted to at least get on while it's daytime to bring you the latest. God only knows what's going to transpire by dark. Once again, there is a curfew in effect for the affected fire areas. You're not to be walking around, loafing about. The curfew starts at 6 p.m. It will end at 6 a.m. So if you are loafing about in these areas, you will be stopped by the military and or police officials that you're not to be walking about, looking around, whatever your reasons are.
Past 1 o'clock on the West Coast. And of course, as we continue to detail the wildfires that burn in Southern California, an estimated $50 billion in damage, already the estimated total. And of course, we're also talking about different lawmakers and their perspectives, both from inside California. We've seen Senator Padilla on the ground, well, a mayor, Karen Bass, but other lawmakers as well. I want to put up a post from Alex Padilla, the senator from California, saying, to the brave firefighters and first responders risking everything to protect our homes, lives, and our communities, you are true heroes. For more on this, let's go out right now to Fox Capitol Hill reporter Chad Pergram with the latest.
The cost of the fires likely means another infusion of federal cash for FEMA. This comes as Republicans try to cut spending.
It's always going to be hard. I think we just got to prioritize, and I think we need to couple any major spending with cuts on the other side.
So to be clear, when that bill comes due for California, some conservatives say we want to see some offsets.
Absolutely.
Congress just spent $100 billion on FEMA after last fall's double hurricanes. This price tag could be even. Burchett is skeptical that FEMA is up to the task. He doubts that California victims will ever see what they're owed after this disaster. Some Republicans take liberals who run much of California.
It is an epic disaster of mismanagement. What's happened in California is the fault of Gavin Newsom and the legislature there.
Wow.
They don't take care of their forest, their forestry management. They don't take care of underbrush.
Other lawmakers say California climate change policies forced insurers to drop fire cover for homeowners.
Yes.
It caused the companies to flee the state. And the people that made those policy decisions have to be held accountable too.
But Democrats rebuke criticism of California's leaders.
I think that's all honestly just ridiculous. I think what's most important is that I think our governor is on the ground doing a great job managing the response. I don't think that we should be putting blame on anyone.
Still, some Democrats question the local response.
Why didn't they have water? Is it negligence, or is it just the fact that so many fires were breaking out all over the city in so many different areas that
right.
It was being the system was being pushed to capacity and got overwhelmed?
It'll take
very good questions.
The cost of the fires. Congress must likely foot the bill. FEMA during the next round of spending due in mid-March. On Capitol Hill, Chad Pergram, Fox News.
All right, thank you so much.
Exactly. Everybody wants someone to blame, and they did cut funding, so that didn't make any sense. I will say that's fault there with the city government, whoever cut the funding. You don't cut the funding when you know you have fires. You live in a state that has the propensity to have wildfires, but try to combat the fire. That's the goal. Wherever there was lacking thereof, you now know you can't go back, and you need to go forward and do the right thing by the people. Because there are people whose lives have perished. You have firefighters' lives at stake, so something needs to be done. I'm going to bring you an update pertaining to the people who have perished. Firefighters have partly or mostly contained 4 remaining wildfires in the Los Angeles area as of Saturday morning, while more than 153,000 residents are under evacuation orders. At least 11 have died in the fires that burned through an estimated 39,000 acres in the greater Los Angeles area and destroyed more than 12,000 structures, NBC News reported late Saturday morning. More than 153,000 residents of impacted areas are under mandatory evacuation orders and could be charged with misdemeanors if they don't evacuate the area. Wow, didn't know that. So you can now be charged for not leaving. So we've gone to charged if you're roaming about, charged if you stay. Just to let you all know. Though firefighters made progress because of diminished winds and dry conditions, they are bracing for that reprieve to end. They will jump from single-digit miles per hour up to 20 to 30 miles per hour range, overnight hours, and into Sunday. So winds are to start again tonight into Sunday, and then Monday night into Tuesday. So it's back again with the winds. Then they will pick up Monday through Wednesday. So now we're going to Wednesday, peaking on Tuesday with gusts up to 50 to 60 miles per hour. Better wind conditions are allowing firefighters to use aircraft to drop water and fire retardants over wildfires. But when the wind picks up and those embers start flying, that's where our concern is, he added. CAL FIRE Battalion Chief David Acuna told CNN, 4 wildfires breakdown. As of Saturday morning, the Palisades fire that started on Tuesday has burned 22,660 acres and is 11% contained, according to CAL FIRE. The Eden fire is the next largest conflagration with 14,117 acres burned since igniting on Tuesday. That fire is 15% contained, according to the CAL FIRE. So you're talking about 22,006 in the Palisades versus 14,000 in Eden. The Kenner fire, 1,052 acres, and the Hearst fire, 799 acres, also continue to burn but are largely contained. The Kenner fire is 80% and the Hearst fire is 76% contained as of Saturday morning, according to CAL FIRE. California officials say more than 12,300 structures have been destroyed by all wildfires in Southern California, with more damage assessments underway for the Palisades and Eden fires. Smoke and other impacts from the wildfires have spurred Los Angeles County officials to declare a local health emergency. The fires, coupled with strong winds, have severely degraded air quality by releasing hazardous smoke and particulate matter, posing immediate and long-term risk to public health, county officials said on Friday. Additionally, the fires have caused widespread displacement of residents, prompted emergency evacuations from healthcare facilities, and disrupted vital health services and resources. Los Angeles County officials have banned the use of power air blowers, including leaf blowers, throughout the county until further notice. These devices stir up ash and particulate matter into the air, further worsening air quality and increasing health risks for everyone and their pets, particularly for those with respiratory conditions, older adults, children, and other vulnerable populations. Health precautions. Local officials advise residents to stay indoors if they smell smoke, keep their doors and windows closed, and use air conditioners that recirculate air to filter out potentially harmful particles. They also suggest wearing an N95 or P100 mask while outside in smoky conditions, shutting off air conditioners that only draw in outside air without recirculating it, and checking and replacing air filters. Those whose homes are too hot indoors to keep doors and windows closed and lack air conditioning should visit public places like local libraries, shopping centers, to stay cool and avoid potentially harmful outside air. County officials also recommend residents don't use fireplaces, candles, or vacuums, and suggest using a damp cloth to clean dusty areas. Anyone who experiences coughing, shortness of breath, wheezing, chest pains, other symptoms are advised to seek medical help. Residents also are advised to keep their pets indoors, especially at night, and take them to an animal hospital if they experience respiratory problems, including coughing, gagging, breathing difficulty. Disaster assistance. The Federal Emergency Management Agency enables fire victims to apply online for disaster assistance at disasterassistance.gov or via the FEMA mobile app. Disaster assistance also is available by calling the FEMA helpline at 800-621-3362. FEMA has received more than 16,000 applications for individual assistance from wildfires. FEMA Regional Administrator Bob Fenton said at a Saturday morning news conference. That is the latest developments pertaining to the fires brewing out Southern California. Welcome to the Vault Excel.
Community recovery and rebuilding efforts. 3, we are focused on building an LEFD that reflects the needs of the community we serve and which will prepare us for the many challenges that are ahead of all of us. I will now provide an update on the current fires. Palisades fire. Yesterday evening, there was a significant flare-up on the northeastern boundary of the fire, threatening Mandeville and Sullivan Canyon areas. We immediately redeployed resources from the San Fernando Valley to begin evacuation and extinguishment efforts with a relentless air attack utilizing all available aircraft in the area. I can now report that we have increased the fire's containment from 8% to 11% with 3,712 personnel that are in this incident. The fire is now at 20,660 acres with all evacuation orders and warnings. They all remain in place. The Hearst fire, 799 acres, 76% contained. 2 structures were damaged. 305 personnel are assigned to that incident. Sunset fire, halted, and I want to focus on that word, halted and stopped at 42 acres, 100% contained due to the due diligence of our first responders that are out there doing their work. Currently in mop-up and patrol status and no active threat to the public. Now looking forward, over the next few days and into the next week, we'll be facing another critical weather event. I want to assure the residents within our incredible city of Los Angeles that Mayor Bass, Chief McDonald, and I are in lockstep together, and that we will utilize every single resource at our disposal to ensure public safety and that we holistically protect Angelenos. Thank you, everyone. And next, I have the honor to introduce Police Chief McDonald.
Thank you, Chief, very much. As we navigate this challenging time, our primary focus remains the safety and security of our community. We're committed to protecting lives, safeguarding property, and maintaining order in the areas affected by the fires. Determining the cause of these fires is critical. And to that end, Mayor Bass, Chief Crowley, and I are announcing, in conjunction with our partner agencies, the creation of the Los Angeles Regional Wildfire Investigative Task Force. This task force is made up of local, state, and federal partners designed to investigate the cause of these fires and to see if there's any connection between them. The task force will be made up of, or is made up of, investigators from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, CAL FIRE, the Los Angeles Fire Department Arson Counterterrorism Section, Los Angeles County Fire Department Arson, Los Angeles Police Department Major Crimes Division, and the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department Arson and Explosives. The just announced this morning, or decided this morning, that the ATF will take over as lead agency on that. They have tremendous resources and expertise and can bring in resources from across the country to do their investigation. So we're very thankful for them and their resources. The LAPD remains on tactical alert, and we have dedicated resources to ensure the safety of our law enforcement and city, state, and federal public safety partners. LAPD officers are actively patrolling these areas around the clock. These efforts include enhanced visibility in evacuation zones and neighborhoods where homes and businesses are vacant. We're deploying marked and unmarked vehicles as well as foot patrols to ensure a strong presence and swift response to any issues that arise. LAPD currently has over 600 officers deployed to these areas, with support from Port Police, who provided personnel, and the National Guard, who provided 40 personnel at various posts throughout the Palisades. And we're truly grateful for their support also. We've continued to respond to radio calls with reports of looting, although I'm happy to share that so far none have been substantiated in that fashion. Let me be clear on this, and the mayor just talked about it. We do have a zero tolerance policy for anybody attempting to exploit this crisis. Looting and other illegal activities will not be tolerated, and we've taken significant steps to prevent such behavior. Additional patrols are actively monitoring evacuated areas, and we've implemented a system of surveillance and rapid response. LAPD is enforcing a curfew in Los Angeles city areas where mandatory evacuations are still in place. The curfew will run from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Last night, we arrested a total of 5 people for crimes involving curfew violation in the Palisades burn area. I want to remind everybody that unless you are public safety personnel or another type of disaster worker, you have no reason to be at these locations. And if we see you in those areas, you will be subject to arrest. Any person who refuses or willfully neglects to obey the curfew order in effect in any evacuation order zone or evacuation warning zone within the city of Los Angeles will be physically booked for a violation of California Government Code Section 8665. A violation of curfew order is a misdemeanor punishable by a fine.
All right, you're just listening in there to these different officials, including Mayor Karen Pence, Kristen Crowley, the chief of the LA Fire, saying they're going to put their disagreements behind them and work in this crisis together. All right, we were just detailing that. That was a press conference from just a little bit ago. There's going to be another update coming up in just about half an hour. What we can see right now on the ground in Los Angeles, Matthew Cedar, our Fox 11 team diving back into their coverage to give you a sense of these Southern California wildfires. Let's listen into their coverage here on Live Now.
The freeway, if you can take that video, a massive plume of smoke, but it's also kind of blowing away from the 405 as it seems like the winds are shifting. It's pretty calm where we are right now compared to what we were seeing, especially last night. And just a few minutes ago, I was up the hill a little bit behind some police on Challen Road, and it was kind of a logjam of police. They're up there kind of on patrol. The planes are making those drops, and the helicopter's very active, but also dry. You can tell they're watching this closely. But overall, Alex, pretty eerie feeling being down here. It's quiet. There's ash falling. It's smoky. Everyone just watching this very closely, hoping for the best. And so back to you.
And it's interesting where you're standing, and this is a public address, so I'm not saying anything that isn't well known. You're just feet away from the home of the Vice President of the United States and the Second Gentleman of the United States, Kamala Harris and Doug Emhoff, who live right there by that elementary school. They are not here this weekend. They're in Washington. But, you know, this story is personal for so many people, including the Vice President.
Exactly, yeah, and that's inside the evacuation zone, like you said, right next to this school. And so many people over here have evacuated. We do see some people driving by curious, but there is a sense of urgency and also fear given what just happened in Pacific Palisades.
Matthew Cedar, thank you very much. We're going to go now to Daryl Osby. He's on the phone, and he's a retired LA firefighter. Of course, we've talked to Daryl many times before.
The chief of LA County.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And so what is your take on what's going on right now, Daryl?
Yeah, I actually turned the news off, but just turned it back on. So it was almost inevitable that this was going to occur. We always need to have boots in the ground. The idea that they don't have boots in the ground and some of this terrain is inaccessible, they need firefighters or crew members in there separating the burn from the unburned. So some of the feeds will show the aircraft doing outstanding jobs as far as the helicopters making pinpoint drops, or some of the fixed aircraft making retardant drops, which is great. But at some given point, you still need to get boots in the ground to separate the burn from the unburned to get containment lines in.
Well, that is a story
So what does that mean, sir? Separation. Could you elaborate what you mean, boots on the ground, separating the burn from the unburned? Make it understandable to us who don't know about these type of matters. Just saying.
So there are plenty of people, plenty of fire officials and professionals that are handling all those other fires. And we kept seeing so many little spot fires pop up, little vegetarian
fires.
Yeah, not vegetarian fires.
Yeah. But what we have seen this morning, Chief, is the air power has really been extraordinary. We saw one home burned, but talk about the value of those resources and how important they are.
Yeah, I think that today you can see the significant value and investment that we've made at the state, local, and federal level as it relates to aircraft, because you have aircraft from all three entities. And you can see the impact that it's having today because the aircraft are able to fly. The helicopters have water sources where they can quickly pick up water and make pinpoint drops to support the ground crews or protect structures. Then you have the fixed-wing aircraft with the ability to fly to Riverside or wherever they're getting their FOS check and make those drops. And you can see the significant impact of those aircraft compared to when this fire first started in Pacific Palisades and they couldn't draw. And that significantly probably added to the spread of the fire because of their inability to use the aircraft for those first few days.
Chief, you've been in the room coordinating the response to massive fires before. Obviously, we haven't had one this big, but you've been there for big fires before. What's happening right now in terms of the leadership, how they're strategizing? Sort of paint a picture. Take us inside the room a bit.
Yeah, we'll have when we have situations with multiple fires, then there's a coordination center somewhere. I don't know where it is now. I'm retired. I don't know if it's with LA City, LA County,
Emergency Operations Center, LA County, and Little Tokyo.
Yeah, okay. So basically what they're doing is they're looking at all the fires and they're prioritizing them. They're looking at the lives at risk, the property at risk, and the potential threats, and then also too any infrastructure, power lines, freeways, water systems. So they're going to score all those criteria, and then they'll make a determination where to send air resources and where to send personnel. So that's happening around the clock.
Well, Chief, when you consider all the ways that they have been fighting these fires and the challenges, there's so much Monday morning quarterbacking, if you will, from people online or whatever, and they don't really understand the challenges of fighting this kind of fire. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, when we have these types of incidents, and it's only gotten worse now with social media and the ability to get on a phone or a typewriter, that everybody has an opinion, and some of them are valid. What I can say is that after every major fire, this one will occur too, that there will be after action review. We'll talk about what went well, what were our challenges, and what can we do to improve for the next incident. As an example, the last major fire I experienced was the Wildfire in 2018. And after we had community meetings, we had experts come in, we hired consultants, and we had over 200 recommendations that we implemented prior to my retirement. Going back, the bigger item I saw in the media was the water system and their inability to keep up with the demand. And I can tell you it's basic math. Water systems today are designed for potable water, and then they're designed for residential fires. And sometimes when you see in a normal situation, you have 3 or 4 fire trucks there, and they're designed to flow several thousand gallons of water for an hour or two. Commercial fires are designed to flow 5,000 to 10,000 gallons of water for 5 hours or longer. When we have a situation when you're having hundreds of fire engines connected to a water system in an urban congregation, which is probably an anomaly in today's environment, simple math, the water system was not going to be able to keep up. I would imagine that when the officials and right personnel get together after this incident, there would definitely be recommendations on how we can improve these systems and improve our responses moving forward.
I mean, is that something you think that can be fixed, or is that one of those things that to fix that and do a complete overhaul of the entire system would be so unbelievably expensive, given the chance of this happening not all that often, that it's not worth it?
Well, that's something for the policymakers to make, and those types of decisions, and the ratepayers, because you're right, it will be expensive to do. But then on the flip side, we can't say we can't do anything to protect our citizens.
Yeah.
So somewhere in between the exorbitant cost to design these types of systems and what's reasonable will land on a decision, and that decision will be implemented moving forward.
And it's going to be a multi-billion-dollar thing to rebuild these communities that maybe if the system was in place, they could have been protected, maybe.
Chief, let me ask you one other question. How do you feel about people who try to fight their own fire, meaning they might
Very
have
good
sprinklers
question.
on top of their roof, or they have,
Very good question.
you know, they take a garden hose even trying to fight the fire and keep the fire away from their homes. But doesn't that also draw from
the water
source and then make it harder for you?
Yes, there's no reason to turn on sprinklers or water systems or your irrigation. That just takes from the water supply for firefighters. So that's not a good use of water. As it relates to people evacuating, that's a very dynamic topic. I know that when I was in the fire service in 2008, 2009, we had significant conversations about what we should and shouldn't do. But then unfortunately in Australia, because we were looking at processes and best practices throughout the world, I forgot the year, I don't recall if it was 2008 or 2009, in Australia they used to have a process, leave early or stay and defend. That was their down there. And unfortunately they called it Black Sunday, and several hundred people died because they tried to stay and defend their homes and they lost their lives. From that terrible incident in Southern California, we developed the process Ready, Set, Go, and I hear you guys talk about it all the time, and we all understand that ready means prepare your house, do the proper burst clearance. Set means be ready to go in case of an incident, and go means go.
Right.
And so that's what we've incorporated in Southern California. It's been adopted across our nation and other countries in the world. Our number one objective is to save lives, so we want people to evacuate. You will see instances where people do stay and save their homes, and that's admirable, but we don't advise that. And then unfortunately, and probably in this case, there were people that tried to stay and protect their homes, and they lost their lives.
Yes.
And we're always trying to advocate evacuate because you can replace your property, but we have not found a way to replace a life yet.
Exactly. And it seems, Susan, that we've seen that some of the people that chose to stay, that knew of the danger, but said, I'm going to stay anyways, unfortunately lost their lives.
Right.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate. And we always put life safety as our number one priority. First, to be quite frank with you, the welfare and safety of our first responders first.
Yeah.
Because we want them to respond, put in a good day's work, be admirable in what they do, and get home safely. They can't protect our citizens if they're not, they're in harm's way, but we want them to get home safely. But
mentally, physically,
equal to that is make sure that our citizens get home or they survive these incidents.
And we know the evacuations are done in different ways in different areas. Last night, our Ed Lascos was live near Mountain Gate Country Club, where there's a community of homes up there, and we heard law enforcement with very loud speakers, sounds, waking everybody up. It was so loud that there was no way that you could sleep through it, sort of thing, knocking on doors, trying to get people out. We know we have those alerts now on our phones, which some have run in error, which are frankly very annoying, but part of the reason that they are so loud is because the idea of it is to wake you up. I mean, we do, Susan, it seems like at this point have a system where that has worked pretty well in terms of letting people know you've got to go. A handful of people have chosen to stay, but most people have chosen to go.
Well, I hate to say this. I have been on the fire lines before, and I know I've talked to firefighters who said, oh, I wouldn't go. I would stay at my house. And that's the kind of sentiment that makes me a little nervous because, of course, for those people who hear that from a firefighter, I don't put those sentiments on TV.
Let me interject here. Hello, everybody. That's bad advice because you have seen the downfall ramifications of staying behind. Water, flood, mudslides, it's all the same. You have no control of the earth, number one. You have no control over rain. You have no control over the wind. You have no control over the water, and you don't have no control over the fire. So if you choose to stay back, that is your choice. But where I have a problem is everybody hooping and hollering after the fact. Such as the story I brought you all last night. Please check out my video from yesterday. An 82-year-old black man is now dead because his daughter and grandson left him behind because he said he didn't want to leave. Sir, the neighborhood was diminishing itself. You had to have known this. And the family, I don't know why you all didn't drag him out of there. I don't give a damn what that old man was talking about. Sir, you coming out of here. Daddy, you're coming out of here. As I always say, lie, 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 lie. We're going to get something to eat. Going to the store. Hey, we're going to get you some water. Come along with us. Say anything. But as we would say in old days, by all means necessary, get him out. Now, someone commented on my video from yesterday. I did a short. Maybe that's the way he wanted to die. Well, you know the Queen had to respond. Are you serious? The hell are you talking about? You speak for yourself. You can't speak for a dead man that he wanted to die in the fire. A lot of older people are honorary. Just like Dick Van Dyke, 99 years old. He's on the ground tangled up in a water hose doing the same damn thing, trying to put out a fire. That's the point. People become honorary. And what people have done, they have attached themselves to their things. That's why they said here, get up and go. Ready, set, go. Stop looking for a slipper, a robe. You don't have time for that. You don't have time for that. If the house is engulfed, you don't have time to now go look for papers and this and that, because you know what? You're supposed to already have those things ready. And the other point, you may not even be able to get it if it's already in a bag or a suitcase or whatever you have it in, because that's the point. You don't know. But if you see and smell smoke in your neighborhood, you already got your paperwork and everything lined up, birth certificates, deeds, wills, all that's in a bag, carry-on case, whatever, then you go get that case. You get you a jacket, shoes, and you walk out of the door. Hello, Point Lord. Thank you for joining me. Because that's the point about a fire flood. You may not have time to gather anything but just your 2 feet. So depending on the circumstance, you use discretion on gathering and non-gathering. He knew there were fires brewing in his neighborhood, this 82-year-old man. The daughter knew, the grandson knew. The grandson was living with him. At 9:30 p.m., the daughter tells the news, oh, yeah, he was walking around his house in the dark with a lantern. I want you to think about that now. 9:30 at night, he's walking around in a dark-ass house. So common sense would tell you they had no power. Why are we even having this discussion about a dead man? So besides your neighbor's houses going up in smoke, you now have no power, and you're walking around in a dark-ass house with a damn lantern, and the buildings and houses are burnt up around you. Help me understand. And yet you say, as an old person, I don't want to go. The daughter says, oh, yeah, he packed up his car or whatever, but he didn't leave. Well, you should have taken him. You should have taken your father out of there. You and your son could have grabbed this old person and drug him out. Say, hey, we'll leave for a couple of hours. We'll watch the news. We'll see how everything's looking. If it looks okay, we'll come back. You have to know how to finesse people. This is life or death. This isn't a game. Because in the end, like they say, you can get another house. You can get another condo. If not, then you make do with what God will bless you with. But your life should be more valuable than your damn house. Now, she sits on the news and spins us this way. He worked for Lockheed Martin. My mom worked for Lockheed Martin. He paid $5 for this house in 1968. Well, what is the house worth now? I'll wait. What is that $5 house worth now in California? It ain't worth nothing. Your daddy is dead. You now got to bury your father. And we also got to hope he had on the house, because as I brought y'all information yesterday, State Farm has declined Californians' fire insurance. Other insurance companies don't insure Californians, if you did not know that, because of the fires. So imagine that $5 house, which was probably worth a nice little penny, had it not burned, is now rubble, and we don't even know if the man had a house insurance or not. And I'm sure a lot of companies are going to play some dirty, dirty games with a lot of people from California, because they do not want to have to pay these people no money. And as someone said the other day, you also aren't going to get the value you think you're going to get out of your house if you do have insurance. Now imagine haggling and wrangling with the insurance company or your relative's insurance company about a payout. They're going to do all they can not to pay. And naturally, it would be illegal. You have a valid insurance policy. But some of these companies will probably end up going bankrupt because of these fires and those who actually have insurance. Now, some of you are probably thinking to yourselves, well, damn, Queen, what are you trying to say? Some of these people probably don't have insurance? Exactly, they don't. Now let's ask that question. How many people who have lost their house don't have fire insurance? You know that when you get insurance through any agency, such as, car insurance, whatever, they will find that out. Other insurance companies, just like if you in your policy, whatever, with a company for whatever reason don't pay, or you decide to go with somebody else, other companies already know who you've been with. They've got their own database. That's why they'll send you little text messages and things asking you to come on board. Hey, I hear you're looking for insurance, blah, blah, blah. Now imagine the people who have lost their homes. They don't have no damn insurance. You are screwed. Now, as for the wealthy people who are very wealthy and they have millions of dollars in the bank, yes, they can afford to go out and get them a new damn house, condo, wherever, because they got the money, whether they have insurance or not. But the myth and the ideology is that this house right here, you see this house, you look at it, you think it's just a standard house. We already know it's worth a lot of money, but you don't know if that person in that house even has insurance. So what you have to tell yourself, California probably isn't the best place to live, period. Because if you can't get fire insurance, it's a waste of time paying a mortgage or rent in California. Checkmate. Whether you live in a house, apartment, a trailer, it does not matter. Stay woke, everybody. Hello, Lisa. You can't get insurance in the state of California because you have to stipulate certain type of insurance depending on the type of disasters that happen in your area. So if you can't get fire insurance, you might need to rethink living in California. So now that we hear this new information about State Farm and other insurance companies not insuring Californians' homes, California is going to be just what it is, a damn desert. It's going to be desolate. Because we already have people moving out of California the past couple of years. Many of those people have moved to Tennessee. If you did not know, they moved to the Nashville area. Now Nashville's overpopulated. Where I live is overpopulated. It is at a standstill. You can best believe at 4 o'clock in Knoxville, Tennessee, the cars are bumper to bumper. You know why? This place right here. This place right here is why. People have left California. Now, we have a major disaster in California. Where do you think some of these people are going to go? Somewhere else. Rebuild. For what? You can't stop the wind from blowing. You're just going to bank on better water systems, water hoses, fire hydrants, adequate staff, firemen, airplanes with retardants. That's what you're going to be banking on. Hell no. Hell no. I would not. California is beautiful, but I would view it as a place to visit. I would view it as a place to visit. We go to California for vacation, and then we get our butts back on an airplane, and we come back.
And any differences that we might have will be worked out in private. But right now, our first and most important obligation to Angelenos is to get through this crisis.
Talking about the fact that they are going to be talking privately about their disagreements and maybe not on a bunch of media channels. But
exactly.
It's clear that Crowley knew what she was doing when making that public statement and was clearly trying to send a strong message in doing so.
Well, there's just been so much criticism on how the city responded to this catastrophe. And she, I'm sure, felt the need to push back. That's why she talked to Gigi. That's
she has to worry about her job.
All of these other
she was voted
suggestions that she was in conflict with the mayor.
I mean, and the political firestorm right now for LA Mayor Karen Bass is quite real. Somebody who won election by 10 points, somebody who's been really beloved here in Los Angeles for a long time and has a whole lot of friends. And but it's been a rough week for her politically, to say the least. And
a lot of her supporters live right there in the Palisades.
Yeah.
So
although the guy that won the Palisades with a huge percentage is Rick Caruso.
True.
Who has been very clear of his disappointment with the mayor's leadership as well. So that's a storyline that we will be following in the months and years.
I'm going to say this. This guy reporting the news for Fox 11, he's been correcting everybody that's spoken on this news broadcast. And I've been on 1 hour and 32 minutes. And he has been very, very boisterous. He has corrected this woman and other people speaking, I don't know how many times. He's letting you know he is on the air. We see you, bro. We see you. But you correcting everybody every 5 seconds is getting a little bit old. We understand people are going to make mistakes. They're going to call somebody by their name and not, tell their whole title. You had to correct the lady to tell us who the ex-fire chief was. You just been correcting her, and I've been on 1 hour and 32 minutes, and I can count how many corrections you've done since I've been on this live broadcast. It's more than 2. So you need to calm down. Just saying. You starting to act like the people do when they come to YouTube and Facebook when they troll and they got something to say. They didn't say that. They didn't say that. That's how this damn broadcaster's act. I'm just saying. Everybody needs to calm down. Now, another question I had in my mind are the people who are reporting. Reporters on the ground, newscasters, reporters. Where the hell do they live? Are any of them in danger? I think one news reporter, they were talking to her the other day, yesterday, she wasn't on the air because she had to take care of her own home, I guess, to make sure everything was in order. So naturally, the people who are bringing you the news, the cameramen, the broadcasters, they live somewhere. The people that work at the radio stations, the TV stations, they live somewhere. They've got to sleep somewhere. And I thought about that. If their house burned, now they got to come to work and what? They got to find clothes to wear, accessories to wear. See, it's a lot to this, to these fires. You work in the news and imagine your house burned down. You don't even have no damn clothes. Well, Valorant, I thought about that. Fox, yeah, he's a little bit exuberant, but I try not to judge everybody, according to, the hype about Fox, CNN, whose news is fake. I don't get into all that. My thing is everything depends on the producer who writes the script and the person reporting the news, how they want to deliver it. Everything's about the delivery. But yes, some news is more conservative than others. I just bring you the one who's talking about it the most, but I do like KTLA news station in Los Angeles. I've come to like their content, but I just happen to have it on Fox right now. But anywho, there's been a lot. Yes, finger pointing, blaming this one, that. state government for not, they cut funds to the firefighters, the fire departments, giving you the information of the fires that are on hand. Some have been contained, but the winds are about to pick up tonight into tomorrow, Monday into now Wednesday. It was Monday to Tuesday. Now the information I brought you says Wednesday. We will be right back listening to more mischief and mayhem out in California, because as I just said, you don't have control over the wind. So even if you're containing 11%, 35%, that's not enough when the winds are going to pick back up. Santa Ana, she's a mean heifer. Shut your mouth. And I also brought you content about Santa Ana. Wikipedia is the source. Brentwood, Encino, Pacific Palisades, Eaton, all still burning. This is not good, because once the fire goes up in the canyons, you're talking about some real problems. Okay? Real problems. That's exactly the place you don't want the fires to be brewing, because you have towers up there, cell towers, utility towers. You got to think about how many fire hydrants are up there in those canyons, running hoses up those canyons. As I showed you earlier in this live stream, the vigilant men, firefighters who were up there with the hose, also digging up the soil to stop the fires. It's a lot of work. And the one thing we don't want are these men being exhausted, passing out, getting sick, because they're in it. They're up there in it. And I also had on my community page, could you live in a canyon? Because to me, the canyon is just like a mountain. It's all the same to me. Would you want to live in a canyon? Because as I said before, you have to think of a worst case scenario when it comes to fire, emergency personnel getting to you, being able to get their way out. As you know, a fire truck, he's got to be able to get out of there, turn around. How much room does he have to move around when you're on a narrow road? This is to me, it's a recipe for disaster, living in those places. And then when I looked at the homes, they're just like the houses in other parts of LA and California, row for row for row for row for row. Big old super duper houses right next door to somebody else's super duper house. And it's almost like, what's the point? But that's the American way, is it not? Little house, big house, medium-sized house, super mansion, and then I'm going to put another mansion right beside your house. So think about that for a minute. $1 million, $5 million, and you're right next door to another $5 million house. So you can just walk out of your $1 million mansion and just cross over the lawn and just damn near crawl through your neighbor's window. I don't know about that. But that's what is going on in America. Greed. Just putting houses on top of each other. There's no way I want to be in that canyon in no big old expensive house, and then you're sitting right on top of me in a house just the same size right next door. Hell no. Move that house over, son. Move it over. America is big. So I don't know why these developments keep putting houses so close together. You know, make it make sense. All these houses just stacked on top of each other like, you know, they're like trailers. Glorified trailers without the wheels, without the brick, bricks holding them up. I've been noticing that for years now. When I look at the homes, and you'll see this with older, parts of California, other cities, big, pretty mansions, miniature mansions, and they're still right next door to another big mansion, little mansion. That's the American dream, is it not? Just house for house for house for house. I don't care if you're in New York, Philadelphia, it's all the same. Row houses, row houses, row houses. And you just imagine being somewhere like New York, Philadelphia, where the buildings are connected to each other in the row houses, brownstones. One house goes up in flames. Well, guess what? Your neighbor, his house, her house is now on fire. So imagine a row of brownstones going up in smoke from one person's fire. I like to have some breath in between a house. If I'm going to live in a house, I don't want you right next door to me. I don't want to be on top of you. I don't want to hear you breathe. This is like living in an apartment. Seriously. It's like living in an apartment if I'm going to be in a big old house and I can look out my window and stare in your window and see what you're doing. You having a barbecue, or you're sitting outside on your cell phone talking in your backyard, and I can hear your conversation verbatim, kind of like what I'm living in now. I know every damn thing the people are doing downstairs. Why, I don't know. I can't hear my neighbors above me talking. I can't hear the neighbors talking beside me. But for some sick reason, underneath me, in this concrete box I'm in, I can hear these people's conversations verbatim. And trust me, it is annoying as hell. But that's the point I'm trying to make. I definitely do not want to be in a house close to somebody else. But I get it. You get what you can afford. But damn, that shit would get old to me too. Because then I feel like, well, what am I doing paying a mortgage? I can go back and live in an apartment. Just saying. Oh, okay. KB says, I moved to the country so we could have space, raising my grandson away from all the violence. Okay. Lisa says, a house on an acre is nice for most of us. Yes, exactly. Laura says, when I open my windows and blinds, I don't want to see right into yours. Laugh out loud. Exactly. And that's the point I'm trying to make, is that everybody, is not in the same financial situation. Everybody can't afford a house. Everybody can't afford, a luxury apartment. You afford what you can afford. But damn, when I've been looking at these houses, and I've been, noticing this for years now, all these super duper houses that these developers are building, you're building a big ass house right next to another big house. And in my mind, I'm sitting here saying to myself, California is very expensive. A standard 2-bed rancher is about $700,000. I'm not about to give nobody $700,000 for no damn TikTok ass house. I said that. I don't give a damn if everything in it's new. Drywall, the floors, appliances. It ain't that much LG, Samsung for me to give you almost $1 million for a 2-bedroom. Do I have a separate bathroom? Does the master suite? Oh, they call it the primary suite now. Do I have my own restroom? We're talking about what? 2 bathrooms, 2 beds for $700,000. And you're right next door to Petey Pablo. Miss Millie. They pull up, when they're home. God forbid they got barking dogs, children. Loud, hollering, screaming. I just want you to think about that, because that's the world we live in. We're on top of each other like roaches for the almighty dollar. Taxes high. Is it worth it? So that's the question I'm posing to you all and anyone living in California at this moment. Is it worth it? Let's go to my community page and see how you all weighed in on the post. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to the Vault Excel. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $Angie 129 Cash App, stickers and chats are welcome during the live stream. Let's see what you all think about what's going on in California, because it's a hot butter mess. Shut your mouth. It's got treacherous out there. But I feel sorry for those people that live out there. Hold on, everybody. For some reason, I'm having a difficult time opening up something. There we go. Cali fires have spread to Eaton, Palisades, to LA area, Brentwood, Encino. Cali fires have now spread to Mandeville Canyon, Could you live in this type of area? 34 votes. 6% said yes. 91% said no. 3% said they are not sure. Once again, countdown, 8 days away. TikTok ban in the United States, January 19th. I also said this 17 hours ago. I don't think homes and businesses should be built along Pacific Coast Highway. Weigh in, 50 votes. 20% said yes, 44% said no, 30% said they're not sure, 6% said stations only. I also asked you all 17 hours ago, where are you? Give me the weather. Where are you? New York. Tell me where you're located and what's the weather like. Snow has melted outside, so some of the streets should be clear. The parking lot outside is clear of ice. Should people continue to live in California? That is one of the questions I asked yesterday. 1 second. 37% of you all said yes. 45% of you all said no. 17% of you said you're not sure. 86 people voted. 45% of you said, get your tail out of there. I also brought you a lot of updates yesterday pertaining to Jay-Z, Gypsy Rose, TikTok, President Trump, his conviction. Once again, TikTok ban, 8 days away. Looks like it will be banned in the United States. America does not want the Chinese spying on us. They also sent out notifications weeks ago about your cell phones. You should not be texting people. Ask not to get your phone device hacked by spies and hackers, if you believe that. We're in dire situation. And I'm noticing something with the apps that I've been noticing since I've been, covering certain stories. I'm doing true crime, the past 3 years, 4 years, and I've noticed just certain things going into apps start messing with my phone. So I came off of Facebook the other day, although I still get notifications on my computer, because I didn't go into the computer and delete the Facebook off of that. But on my phone device, I'm not getting any notifications for Facebook. I don't really care. I told myself I needed a break from some of the apps because I don't participate on them. Snapchat, X, all that. Can't even get in my own X account. Couldn't get in. X got me locked out for some weird reason. So that to me is a sign don't need to be on them. Because there's no way I should be locked out of something that I wasn't even using in the first place. They said some type of suspicious activity. Naturally, I would post to X because I would share content from my channel on X. And then I also follow, people like Miss Coffin Daffer, ex-FBI agent. So there were, times I go over to X and, just look at what was going on with true crime. But since I don't talk about true crime on my network regularly, I'm good. I don't really want all these apps on my phone because I'm really getting tired of all these spam calls and text messages from people talking about, hey, I want to help you with your debt, your taxes, this and that. It's just too much going on with the cell phone. Now, we think back to 20 years ago with a cell phone, the little Nokia, the little thick phone. You didn't have all this spamming and people calling you, talking about, hey, I hear you're selling your house and trying to get your government name. They just want to verify that's your name. So you stupidly say, "Oh yeah, I'm Joe Brown." No, I'm not selling a house. Well, they now know you are Joe Brown, and they now have your telephone number. So what they're going to do is continue to fish, so they can end up getting your damn Social Security number. This is the world we're in. It's wicked out here. It's just wicked, wicked, wicked. Just crazy. Oh, you got snow, Lori? Okay. Hey, Gigi, how you doing? She says, I get the suspicious login alert from X all the time. It's a pain. Yeah, well, you have to be careful. You got to be careful going in that Gmail, too. Gmail, it's a bunch of junk as well. You have to be very careful. Lisa, where are you? You snowed in. Yeah, Lori, it looks like it's going to go through. KB's in Kentucky. Welcome, Kentucky. Okay. Welcome, everybody, to the Vault XL. On this network, I talk about various topics. So you may hear me talking about entertainment, famous people. Next day, I'm talking about natural disasters. This is an all-around live stream. One day you may come on, you'll see me out and about on Wednesday nights at the Magnolia Cafe where I go and have me a little bubbly. I'm an all-around network. You don't know what you're going to get over here, honey. And one day you might come in and we're talking about men. So don't be surprised when you come back in and you say, damn, she talking about trifling men, trifling women. Damn, she's talking about fire one day and she's talking about men the next day. And the next day I might be talking about homosexuality. This is Queen, baby. I talk about everything. That keeps it, I can draw in different type of subscribers than only talking about one type of subject. I'm not a one type of subject person. I'm versatile. I'm worldly. I can strike up a conversation with a tree. It might answer, it might not. You can see where I'm going. I'm not that type of person where I'm stuck on one thing in life. That's boring. It's not my type of personality. I can go anywhere, make a friend. I talk to people when I'm in public. And guess what? They talk back to me. Because that's all most people want is somebody just to say, hello, good morning, how are you, nice day, like your shoes, blah, blah, blah. Hey, then there's other days I'm in public, I don't say 2 words. I just get to where I'm going and keep it moving. But I just wanted to say that to people who are watching from home, those chatting in the chat, to know this is an all-around network. So don't get surprised by the topics and the titles of the videos. If you go on the channel, you're going to see different type of content on this network. Now looking at my channel, I notice I'm at 3,700 plus videos. I've been on this network since the summer of 2019. I am approaching 6 years uploading content in the YouTube queue. God is good. Thank you so much. Yes, we got snow, GG. It's melted. The parking lot is clear where, there's no ice. So it melted today. Yeah, we got snow. And I'm telling you, I slept good yesterday. Woo, baby, I slept like I was in a tomb. I slept good. I got up. I said, well, let me go live, talk about these fires. So it was yesterday was a really good day. So today I kind of slept in too, trying to, get up on my sleep, because Queen has a very bad habit of staying up late, and we have got to stop doing that. It's bad for your health, sleeping, staying up late. But I was up watching Tubi, and honey, I was watching this crazy movie with this guy. I can't think of his name, but I'm going to pull it up. I watched this crazy damn movie, and honey, I couldn't wait for it to go off. You know how it is when you watch those movies and the characters act like they're damn crazy? I've been trying to find some older vintage scary movies, thrillers. I like those vintage movies like Black Christmas, The Eyes of Laura Mars. I like the older stuff from the 70s, 80s. I told you, I grew up in the city, so I got a different type of vibe about myself. I love anything from the 70s and 80s when the content was more original. Now, everything's the same. Burglar breaking in, holding the people hostage. Just so it's the same type of movies. Nothing's original. I see that Statham guy, he's got a new action movie coming out. I think I'm gonna go see it in March when it comes out. He looks like he's doing his thing. It's called A Working Man. I'm gonna check that out in March. I haven't even seen Baby Girl with Nicole Kidman. It's in the movies. I haven't seen it yet. Can't pay for it on the apps. I think it's on Prime. You can buy it on Prime. Baby Girl. It's supposed to be a pretty good movie. All right, what am I looking for? See, I forgot. I get old. What the hell am I supposed to be looking for? Oh my goodness, I can't even think. for a while they ran out of new scripts and just changed the titles. Yeah, that is what they've done. You all, what am I supposed to be looking for? I done forgot. Damn, Queen, you're slipping. 60 viewing, thank you for tuning in. I forgot what the hell I'm supposed to be looking for. Somebody in the chat remind me. Oh, the movie from last night, this morning. Oh, I know what it is. You Can't Run. I can't believe I remember the title. Black hair chick. These are the stars in the movie. I'm sure J.K. Simmons, he's very active. He's been around acting a long time. He is the lead role in the movie. He is the serial killer, J.K. Simmons. I know y'all are like, what? These are all the people in the movie. It's a very good movie. I would play the trailer, but it might flag it copyright because they did it the other day when I... Check it out, free on Tubi. It's what I watched this morning. You Can't Run Forever, 2024. Serial killer. This guy is just walking around popping people at will. Chasing a young girl through the wilderness. Does she make it out? Check it out. You Can't Run Forever, now free on the Tubi app with commercials. Starring J.K. Simmons, Fernanda Arajola, and Alan Leach. It's okay. I mean, it's all right. I think I was more frustrated with the damn daughter. Oh, God. When Queen watch that movie, she be talking junk to that TV screen, baby. Check it out, everybody. You Can't Run Forever. For those of you that like mysteries, thrillers, let's see. I did have a movie of the week for you guys. I'm going to go back in and check what I put up here earlier. I think I put it up Sunday. I forgot what I shared. See, I can't keep up with nothing. For those of you who are wondering who's behind this screen, that is me. I rarely show myself because everybody likes a visual of the content. So I just pan the camera and show you the content. But this is who you are now listening to. My name is Angela. I am a YouTuber, and this is my network, just in case you're curious. I'm trying to find this movie. The movie I had, I think I posted it Sunday, because sometimes I post them on Sundays too. So you all have something. I already have it in the queue. Please check out my videos from this week if you want a good laugh about the lady that glued her eyes shut with damn nail glue. Oh, Lord have mercy, Jesus. Don't get me started. Oh, yes. Here's my movie of the week. Based on a true story, Citizen Jane. Hallmark movie. Very good movie with Ali Sheedy. As most of you know, Ali Sheedy is a famous actress. She's been in a lot of films. She was a part of the Brat Pack back in the 80s. Based on a true story. It is a wicked story of a young woman finding her aunt deceased in her home, and they're trying to figure out who is the murderer. She was also a suspect. Based on a true story, everybody. Citizen Jane. That's my movie of the week. Well, Sky, you know I was an extra in Dolly Parton's last movie. That's my focus this year for those who don't know me, aren't familiar with this network. I got distracted doing the, YouTube thing back in 2021. And so my focus was on the channel. And then the next year, I went and did the extra for the Dolly Parton movie, August of 2022. So I've gotten distracted with the acting. But that is the refocus for this year, is to move out of the area and migrate to Georgia, if possible, to pursue my acting career. I'm also thinking about doing a little comedy. I think I'd be good at being a comedian, which many people have told me that over the years. Your comeback is quick, girl. So you know how Queen gets when she tells these stories here on YouTube. Some of the stuff is just like crazy. I put a little humor with it, not to make fun of the situations per se. Naturally, I'm not going to joke about what's going on here, but I do have some opinions about these fires. I don't know why these people are staying in their houses, and I don't know why the people are trying to put the damn fires out, but that's a whole nother damn story. But anywho, yes, I will be pursuing all avenues of entertainment. So the YouTube channel might take a diversion if I get something tangible in the entertainment field, such as, a role, series, whatever. I'm open to all opportunities. Even a little radio, that'd be fine too. Most of you didn't know I had a radio program when I was in college. I was a DJ. The kids loved me. Used to put them puppies to sleep at night. Those were the good old days, 30 plus years ago. And so if you want to get another side of Queen, we can just, pretend we're on the radio now. You're listening to 104.5, where the vibe is easy. Lay back, relax, grab a cup of coffee, wine, and listen to the Queen. I think I got a good radio voice. What you think? Lori is so funny. Have you tried any writing for comedians? No, I haven't. And that's the thing I was worried about. I was talking to some people about that a few weeks ago. I don't even know if I can write my own material. That's something I have to focus on. Can I write my own material? Because I just shoot stuff off as I talk. I'm not thinking about nothing. It's not scripted. Even when I come on the live stream, all the stuff I say, which, a lot of people just say, oh my God, you had me dying laughing. It's not scripted. It's just stuff that's on my mind, and I just speak it at that time. And that's my fear, is could I do that on stage? But I know on stage is different, because you got to have a certain amount of time. You got to stand on stage, especially if you're going to have a show for about an hour. You're going to have to definitely have a script, rehearse it, play it back, to have it timed, how long you're going to talk about this subject, that subject. So I'm going to be doing all that this year. That's my focus, is do a little bit of everything and just see where it goes. See where it goes. Sky, you're funny. When I role play, I know. And some people probably don't like when I role play. Thank you, Sky. Appreciate that. Thank you. Oh, I love comedy. I love stand-up comedy. If you want to get put in a good mood, that is, I promise you, that is the best thing you can do, especially with all this going on, all this crime that's happened the first of the year. I go to YouTube Q, I pick up a video. I like this one lady named Dominique. She is so funny. I like her. I found her last month or November, and I've been watching her. I like her content. Night Terrors. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Okay. But yeah, pick up a little comedy, and it'll put you in a better mood. It'll make you forget about what you're upset about, bad day, stressful day. You forget all about your problems, honey. I've been talking over them, because you got to talk over. You can't let the content just play and don't talk, because YouTube has a problem with that. You got to talk sometimes during the live stream when you're playing news broadcasts. So I don't want anybody to get offended. Now, what is she doing? Is she moving? What is this? What? Where y'all going? I ain't talked to her in a while. Yes, it is a key to happiness. We'll go read the funny greeting cards. We just sat in the aisle laughing. Oh, yeah, that's different. Nobody probably does that anymore. Even go to the store and buy greeting cards. Listen, one of my friends is moving. Let me see. I gotta find my friends. Hold on. Hold on. I gotta turn that volume down. Copyright. You know, anything you show, they copyright anything, child. Okay, this is the lady that I like. January 24th, 25th, she's going to be in Kansas City at the Funny Bone. February 7th and 8th, Cleveland Funny Bone. Let me show you who she is. Oh, hold on one second. Well, jumped off. Yeah, what is going on? You know, these machines are just... She's a comedian. She's so funny. She's from Washington, D.C. Feel free to check her out in the YouTube queue. Happy birthday, Miss Dominique. Oh my gosh, she's so funny. She is so funny. Please check out her content in YouTube. She is so hilarious. Hopefully I won't get a copyright strike if I play something of hers. Hold on, everybody. Let me see. It's not showing the volume. She's so check her out. She's going to be see, I had her January 24th, 25th, Kansas City at the Funny Bone, and February 7th and 8th at the Cleveland Funny Bone. Check her out. I think they're breaking up this. Let's see what they're talking about. Then I'm going to check out of here. I'm 2 hours and 9 minutes in. Welcome to the Vault XL.
With, a couple of my friends who lost a home in Altadena, who then have forwarded a lot of sentiment from the people who live in Altadena, who felt a bit abandoned by firefighters. And now that we're in this place where so much of the area is barricaded and people can't get back to even see what their house looks like, worried about looters. And then they just mentioned that number of 19 people arrested. And they're frustrated because they don't want to be, as residents, they don't want to be under the curfew. Like, they should be able to go back into the neighborhood if necessary, but to be arrested for a curfew violation seems like it's adding insult to injury.
Is that the way, as far as I understood, if you could show ID, you could still get into the evacuation zone?
I don't.
Yes, National Guard is present.
Really was meant to be overreaching, so
guarded
that
the
you
streets
could
last
not
night.
Go back in. And I will tell you, just from a personal piece of information, when I
let me remind those who are not familiar to what is going on at the current moment. 6 p.m. curfew to 6 a.m. Also, if you have an order to evacuate any said area, you can be arrested if you do not leave. Once again, you will be arrested if you do not leave your own house. Number one. Number two, you will be arrested if you are looting in a house business that is not burning. You cannot pilfer around any evacuated areas that is guarded by the National Guard police. If you're seen walking about Palisades, Encino, Brentwood, wherever, your ass is going to jail. So it's up to you how you want to navigate out there. But they are trying to keep the peace. They're trying to keep the home safe. So if you don't understand that, that's on you. But if you want to go to jail, just make sure you got your damn debit card for your bond. That's all I can tell you. They're trying to keep the peace. Now, as this woman is saying on this news report, this is possibly insult to injury. It depends on your perception, but they don't want you in here. And as I said before in my commentary, nobody's paying attention to the bigger picture. Soot ash is falling down. You heard the guy say that about an hour ago. So if soot and ash is falling down, it's falling on your car, on the house. It is also getting inside of the house. Ting, 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 ting. Pay attention. One guy said this on the news yesterday. We left, came back, there was ash inside of the house. Windows and doors were closed. So, duh. It's toxic outside. The smoke is toxic. Water is not safe to drink. And soot is making its way in the house. So you want to go back to a house that possibly has no power, no water, and ash on the inside of your house. What is it that you all are confused about? This is what I'm saying about the people who are in these situations. They act as if they cannot understand basic English. What is it that you all don't want? I don't understand it. It's the same thing when it floods. You don't want to leave. You don't want to leave. But then when your house is flooded, you're alive, you go straight to the news and you cry and go on and on. Oh, I barely made it out. I had to get the dog. I had to get the parakeet. But they send you warnings about heavy rain before it floods. You want to wait until you're waist deep to say, oh, I think I should leave my house. Come on now. So the fires are the same. The soot is making its way inside of the house. I'm not saying this is for everyone's house. An example of a man who shared his story on the news this week. I don't think he's lying, and I don't think he made that up. So I'm just saying, use common sense. You go back to your house. If there's ash inside, you've got to now clean that up. I think you know what it's like to clean up ash, soot off of furniture, cabinets. It is hard work. You're not going to be pleased. To keep clean air circulating inside of your home. You know you're not going to be able to drive about, go out and get things because your area is going to be barricaded. So I don't think you're thinking. That means you're going to have food stocked for God knows how long because they don't even want you moving about in those areas. Please think, think, think. Maybe you don't have the money to stay in a hotel for a couple of weeks. I get it. Many people don't because a lot of people just assume that everybody in California is rich and that they have money. They do not. They're just making the mortgage payment. They're doing what a lot of you all are doing in the chat. You are just surviving. Everybody in California is not wealthy. Everyone in California does not have savings. Everybody in California don't have a plan B, plan C. So I get it. People are frustrated. They're angry, but you're not thinking. You're going back to what? Even if the house is standing. Do you even know if your house has power? You want to go back in a house with no power. Make it make sense. You can't drink the water. You got to flush the toilet, dodo bird. You got to take a shower at some point. Think, 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 think. Nobody is thinking. Everybody is just upset and crying, blaming this person, that person. Well, it's too late for that now. You have got to focus on your next move. So what you need to be thinking about are your business situations. Calling your insurance. That should be your first priority. You don't have insurance? Then you need to think about where you're going to be sleeping and living. That is your priority. And I get it. There are people who just cannot navigate in a crisis. Well, now you don't have a choice. So you're going to have to get it together. You're going to have to get it together. And I know this is a test. It's a test from God. I want to see what you're made of. Can you navigate in a crisis? You can interpret this situation however, whether you're religious, non-religious, but it is a test. It's a test to see if you're resilient. You can hang in there. You can make sound decisions. Yes, there are going to be scammers. Yes, there are going to be people who are going to try to loot. As you heard, they've arrested 5 people already. People will test the waters. That's what people do in disasters. They test the waters. The universe is testing you to see if you can sustain or not. And we have heard how many people fell by the wayside from a natural disaster, such as what happened with Katrina. Many people from Louisiana, New Orleans, they end up killing themselves because they could not navigate afterwards. They got sent to places they didn't want to go. Naturally, they don't know anything about the place. They don't have friends, family around. I get it. But you don't want to kill yourself because, you know, you're living somewhere you don't want to live, or you're not accustomed to the area, the weather. Understandable. Many people got sent to places like Maine, Pennsylvania, New York. It's not a place you send a person that's used to warmer climate. That's common sense, but they were trying to bust the people and get them to safety. But in the long run, people ended up falling by the wayside. And that's what you have to know. You got to use your head. You can break down, you can cry, you can stomp, but you've got to also gather your senses. You've got to gather your senses. And I'm going to say this to the viewing audience about this type of disaster and other disasters. As I just said, you've got to think for yourself. You cannot expect people to do everything for you either. Nobody's going to hunt you down to make sure you're filling out adequate paperwork for FEMA, Red Cross, housing authorities. Those are things you have to do. You want to lay by the wayside, that is your choice. But in the end, it is up to you to go out and get help for yourself, your children, whomever. Nobody's going to come to you. They may knock on the doors to make sure nobody's in the houses. They may go to the ruins to make sure there, aren't any remains. But after they get to you and they get you out of the area, you have got to navigate for yourself. And I'm just going to say, this country is good at helping people in disasters. So there's no excuse for anybody to be still out here slumbering around in places. I'm tired of hearing about the tents and stuff in Western North Carolina. I'm not trying to be rude, but I just don't want to keep hearing that, because I know we have a lot of housing agencies in different towns and jurisdictions. You need to get somewhere with 4 corners because you're accustomed to sleeping in 4 corners. So you have to go talk to the people to get the help. When there are natural disasters, they give you numbers to places to call these agencies, housing authorities, to say, hey, I was in a flood. Hey, I lost my house. Hey, I lost my apartment. I need somewhere to sleep. There is help. We have a housing crunch, of course, but you get top priority because you were in a disaster. And that's something that some of you probably don't know. Anybody that has been a fire or flood, you get top priority for housing. May not be where you want, may not be the area, but you can get something. That's my point. So there's no reason for anybody to be sitting around here in a disaster, still sleeping outside on a bench in a tent. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. because you know you can't sustain in winter weather outside in a tent. Now, you went and got an RV and you want to park it on your property or near your house, that was your choice. That's your choice. But anybody else making excuses about people sleeping outside in tents and all of that, because I saw that in one of the news broadcast chats, somebody comparing North Carolina to this. That was months ago. There were many agencies, churches giving food, cooking food, offering help. I refuse to believe nobody in the state of North Carolina didn't give people phone numbers of where they could get adequate help, as so they're not sleeping on the street. Come on now. Let's stop this nonsense. It's just like saying the people from Katrina, they're still homeless. You know they're not still homeless. They may have gotten homeless down the road, but you understand what I'm saying. That's what Red Cross is for. That's why they tell you to donate money, because the money helps them give resources for the hotels, pay for the hotels for you to stay in until you can get permanent housing, give you vouchers for clothes, shoes, food. That's what the Red Cross money is for. That's why they want you to donate money, so they can give people cash money, Visa cards, to buy what they need to get them somewhere to stay. Because some of these people, whether they decide to rebuild or not, the point is, money in the bank, insurance, both, neither, you still have to have somewhere to sleep. Okay? 2006, 5, which is however. The point is, you still got to have somewhere to sleep. So even if you say, I got the money to rebuild, I got the insurance to rebuild, you still need to have somewhere to sleep in the meantime. What fool is going to sleep outside a burnt out house? For what? That's crazy to me. And when I heard people were doing that in North Carolina, it's strange to me. Why would I want to sleep in an area full of mud? For what? That's the view you want to have when you wake up and go to bed? Your children want to play outside. You want them playing out in mud? Come on, guys. You cannot be that ornery. Exactly, Lori. Exactly. Somebody helped. That's the point. And as I said, you may not have liked, where they sent you, but that's the whole point of getting on your feet, getting yourself grounded. Some people did move back to, New Orleans. Some people didn't. Some people said, I don't want to go back there. I have nightmares. I don't ever want to go back there. I don't ever want to live there. I might visit, but I don't want to live. That's their choice. And I'm sure some people feel the same way about Florida. After you've dealt with a flood or two, you may not want to go back. That's your choice. Chad Ryan, there's many places you can go. That's bullshit. Don't come in here disrupting the chat with that nonsense. That's a bunch of bullshit. There's no such thing as there's nowhere to go. When a road is open up, you got out to safety. You can't say there was nowhere to go. It's your choice if you want to stay behind in the area. That's a choice. That has nothing to do with anybody. I'm not going to sit here and believe there was no help to the people in North Carolina. May not have came right when you wanted it. You wanted them to bulldoze the site where your house was. Well, that's between you and the city and the town you live in. So then you'd have to go call your city council or the city and say, hey, what are you all going to do about, bulldozing this site? Is it on me? Do I have to pay? The point is, you have to inquire. You have to inquire. But I'm not going to sit here and say there was no help in North Carolina to help the people. That's bullshit. I'm not going to believe that. North Carolina sits right next door to Tennessee. So if you didn't feel like you could get help in North Carolina, you could have came right over to the next town. Yep, I do like the sound of my voice. Obviously, you do too. That's why you came in the chat. And for you smart asses coming in here, what are you all doing to help? Are you all helping these people? No, you're not. You have to navigate on your own. The point is, we have resources in America when there's a disaster. But the point is, you can't expect somebody to hold your hand every day while you're in a disaster. It doesn't work like that. You're going to have to be calling on the phone to your insurance agency if they give you a number for a housing agency. It's just common sense. But to say there's nobody out there helping, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. I'm not. There's no way I'm going to sit there and believe that. There's no way I'm going to sit here and believe there's no help. There's no help in North Carolina for the people displaced. They had a flood back in what, 1819? For those who know it all, since you're going to tell me I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. They had terrible floods in 1819. And so you want me to believe all those people were still living in tents? Because I don't remember hearing of people camping out in tents back then. Exactly, Lori. That's why they're telling the people, donate to Red Cross. That's where the Red Cross money goes. It's to help you get shelter. That's what it's for. That's what they need the money for. It's to help the people get somewhere to sleep. No way I'm going to believe you're sitting here with a viable address and you go to the Red Cross. They're going to tell you, oh, no, we can't help you. This is one of the richest states in the union. People are going to be sending money to Red Cross in California from all over the United States and the world. There is enough money in California to help all people displaced. Come on now. I don't care if you're wealthy or not. This state has money. There are wealthy people who own homes in California. There are wealthy people who have homes in California, New York, Oklahoma, different places. You know damn well they're going to donate to help people get them somewhere to sleep. Make sure they get food. They already have places set up for food for you to eat. The Rose Bowl, you can go there to get clothing, food. There's somebody there cooking food. But the point is, you have to go. They're not going to come hunt you down to make sure you're eating, to make sure you need a place to stay. You're going to have to go and tell the people, hey, I'm displaced. Because we don't even know the accurate number of people who are actually displaced right now. It's not somebody going to be walking around with a clipboard asking people, are they displaced? You're going to have to reach out. So that goes for California, New York, North Carolina, anywhere. You have to navigate. Yes, they are, Laura. I just don't believe in making excuses. We know that a lot of places aren't prepared for disasters, such as what happened in North Carolina. They probably weren't prepared. We get that. The point is, afterwards, people came together to help the people of Western North Carolina. That's the point. And I refuse to believe that nobody, there was no help as far as getting the people housing, because North Carolina has other jurisdictions besides the western part of North Carolina. You're going to have a south, east, a west. You have other states, South Carolina, Tennessee, we're right next door. And naturally, there are going to be places that's going to say, well, hey, do you want to stay in the area? Do you have family? Would you like to go over to Tennessee? There's always going to be some agencies that are going to offer you that information. It's up to you to decide what you want to do. People in Western North Carolina, I don't believe that. I refuse to believe that. Because I know something about small towns that some people don't know. Southern people are good at helping out, especially if you are in a disaster. We will come through and help. We'll come through with food. We're going to come through with water. We are going to come through. We are going to come through. That's what we do here in the South. We're going to make sure, church people, all of that, we come together. We're going to make sure you got somewhere to eat, blankets. We're going to help. So I don't want to hear any more excuses about people sleeping in tents. Because that's one thing I've learned about living here in the South. We are very resourceful as far as helping people in a disaster. That's why Tennessee is called the volunteer state. For that reason alone. This is the volunteer state. That's why people are moving here. That's why these people in California are moving here to Tennessee. Because the life here is quieter, less stress, was less expensive, and we are a helping state. Many people who come from all over the world will tell you that about Tennessee. And they'll tell you, I live better than I did anywhere else in the world. Because you can bring your money here and live 10 times better than you did in California, New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, Atlanta. That's why people come here. Now, the rent has jumped up, of course, but we're still a helping state. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we have food banks, we have food pantries, we have clothing pantries through churches. We have organizations here such as CAC, Homeward Bound. They help you in any type of crisis. Daycare, transportation, housing, electric, all of that. All of that. Yep, sure am. Well, that's true, Lori. Very true. Very true. Jacob, we welcome everyone, but remember, while you're leaving your home, don't bring your problems here. Jacob, be nice. Well, there's always going to be trolls, Lisa. That's all they do is come in and troll, because they're what's wrong with the world as well. People who don't have anything better to do than exacerbate a bad situation. It's bad enough these people are sick. There's people are dying. People are going to probably have health problems with this lingering smoke, as the doctor said yesterday. 3 months of this smoke lingering in the air. So it's not going to just be, stop the fires. You still got to talk about the cleanup process, people getting them another place to live, the smoke in the air, the respiratory problems thereafter. It's not just going to be an easy, quick fix. That's why I said the people are going to have to decide if they want to even stay in California, okay? And right now, with the current situation, it is something to think about. Do you want to still continue to live in the state of California? Because this problem is not going to go away. The winds, the Santa Ana winds, there's just nothing you can do about it. The winds are not going to just say, well, they don't like us in California, so we won't come back. It doesn't work like that. It's just like anything. Heavy rains bring floods. It's the same thing. Heavy rains brings mudslides. Many people in Northern California, they know about that. So that's what I'm saying. Once you learn, the demographic that you're in, it's a matter of, do you want to stay? That's all. Do you want to stay in those areas? Well, Jeffrey, we know that relocating isn't the answer for some. We're just talking in general. I'm not here to argue about what somebody's going to do in California. It's your choice. If you want to stay in California, that is your choice. What I'm saying is there is help for people, but you're not going to know until you ask. You can also ask the Red Cross. What information do you all have as far as relocating? I'm sure they have information. Because they can also connect you to other housing agencies in other states. Some states work with other states. The point is, you're not going to know until you ask. That's the point. And another thing is, some people may not even want to live in California. Whether they have the money to relocate, whether they even have cash on hand to put down a deposit on another home or apartment. Imagine saying, well, I don't have the money to put down on another apartment or home, but I also don't want to stay here either. That would be a terrible place to be. I love California, but I don't love California. I really don't want to stay here because I don't want to deal with this again. This is a terrible situation going on out in California. And I don't care what anybody says. This is a moment to pause and decide if this is the best place to live for you. Because it's easy to say, I'm going to rebuild my house. You don't even know how long that's going to take to, one, stop the fires. Then there has to be a cleanup process by the city and the towns to go in to clear the debris. And then you also are trying to get, however to rebuild your house. This is not an overnight process. That's what I'm saying. So that's why I'm saying a person has to think about all of that. And even the rebuilding process, if they even have the money or the insurance money. You first got to clear out the neighborhoods, the debris. It's not going to be an overnight process. That's my point. And with waiting and waiting and waiting for everything to go through with the cleanup process, a person might decide they don't want to deal with it. Pointed lower, yes, this will take years. Yes, I don't think people realize that. It's like, have you seen the structures burnt? We're not talking about 2 buildings burned down. We're talking about rows of houses. 500 houses? Are you serious? I want you to think about that. 500 or so houses. Now somebody has to go in and bulldoze all of those houses. So now that's more manpower. That's more work. Okay? Now that's not even including the businesses that burned down. How many houses on the Pacific Coast Highway burned down? Stay woke. This is not an easy easy fix. And then you also have to think about one house, two houses, however many houses, homes are still standing in the area where they're going to be doing all this demolition. So now you're sifting more of that stuff in the air by using a bulldozer. See, nobody thinks. Bulldozer has to go in and chip away at all of that concrete, stucco. And put it in what? The trash. Metal bin. So now you're still sifting that stuff around. That's why the content I played yesterday, the doctor was talking about the long-term effect of the structures burning, the toxins that were in the structures. You're talking about months of this debris just floating around in the air, the pollutants. So that's why I said it's not just an easy fix. Oh, go back to your house, stay in your house, go back, rebuild. It doesn't work like that. And that's why I said I'm sure a lot of people, their patience are going to be tested in this process of finding a place, wanting to rebuild, dealing with the insurance companies, you know, all of those things, getting the water turned back on, getting the power turned back on. This is a serious situation. Yes, we know there's money in California. Talks in private, not for the national news, which I think that's the best. Because in the end, we can blame this person, that person. Everybody's got their idea who started the fire. So far, I haven't heard no one say these were man-made, but they're investigating. That's what was said during this broadcast on Fox, that they will be investigating all points and origins of the fires. Well, yeah, the money burned. I don't know. I understand what you're saying. If the vault didn't burn, is her money safe? Oh Lord, in the vault. So what you talking about, the unclaimed money that you don't have put in your bank account? So Uncle Sam wouldn't know about that. Very interesting. Let's see what's going on. I'm going to check out of here in just a few minutes. Thank you for joining me. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, stay warm if you're in a cold climate. And if you can do something to help somebody out in this dire time in California and colder climates, please do so.
Continuously been an issue. A smoke advisory is in place, so definitely a reminder to limit your outdoor activity. In the upper levels of the atmosphere, this is what we're watching. Very dry conditions across Southern California. There's this ridge of high pressure that continues to implicate our weather conditions. And we're closely watching this little dip in the atmosphere. This is an area of low pressure that's going to bring a little bit of cooler air behind it. And that's going to help the upper levels in the atmosphere. The dynamics involved will create stronger winds offshore. And that's why going into tonight and into tomorrow morning, we'll see those stronger gusts popping up. Dry. We have been very dry since the beginning of the water year, 2024-2025. October, just trace amounts. We only received 14/100th of an inch of rain in November and December. Incredibly dry conditions. January, our second driest month of the year, has brought us, or should I say, the second, January, typically our second.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to say something about that, the arson thing. Yes, the one guy was arrested. I don't know. I have to Google to see what the update is on that. But yes, the Kenneth fires, they are investigating to see if he indeed set the Kenneth fire. And the neighbors who tackled him said he was walking around with a blowtorch and setting the garbage cans on fire. So that is one person that I do know of that was arrested. Matter of fact, I'm going to try to get an update on that information before I check out of here.
May not be enough to help us out, but we will take all the rain that we can get. Right now it stands about a 10 to 20% chance, so there's a slight good news in the horizon. And as we mentioned earlier, Susan and Marla, that with the incoming chance of rain, it's going to increase our humidity levels, and that's going to help with the firefight. But as the winds change direction, it could also pose a different problem for the opposite areas where the fire is currently burning. Red flag conditions in place for mountain communities. Winds will be a problem all the way through about at least Tuesday. Red flag warnings through Wednesday, and maybe a little break again Thursday, Friday. Get a longer period of at least opportunity for firefighters to get a much better handle on the situation at hand. Stay on top of the forecast. Have your evacuation game plan. This is something that we continue to hit because we want people to stay safe and on their toes. Have a communication plan in place. Life is the most important thing. Papers, gather your important documents, prescriptions,
yes,
your personal pictures, your plastics, that also like credit cards, and cash is going to go a long way as well to keep you safe. So keep that in mind, and we continue to watch those sustained winds eventually getting stronger. We talked about this before, Marla, Susan.
Yes, that's one of the advice I wanted to give people listening to this content. And also people who aren't in harm's way at the moment, you need to have all of your documents together. Passport, birth certificates, IDs, military IDs, all the IDs you don't regularly carry with you on a daily basis. You need to have them in an envelope or a pouch, and you need to have them inside a carry-on case with all your deeds, wills, all that together. So just in case if something happens, fire, flood, whichever, and you do have the chance to get out of your house, apartment, or condo, whichever, you can grab that bag and walk out of the door, run out of the door. You do not want to be looking in different places for documents. You don't ever put documents separate, okay? So however you decide to store it in your house, a safe built in the wall, personal safe, detached safe, however, you need to be able to have access to get to it in a hurry. And that's the thing about a safe. When you panic, you may not even be thinking, remember codes. You need to be able to grab that bag and get your ass out of Dodge. So that's my advice to anybody listening to this live stream. If you want to have something to do tonight on your Saturday night, you're not going anywhere, go gather all of your personal documents and put them in a safe type of carry-on bag. I always tell people to hide it in the back of a closet, something you don't want out where people can, ramble, be nosy. Put it in a carry-on bag or buy you something just specifically to carry your documents in, because I don't know how many documents, some of you all have access to. But all your wills, insurance policies, life insurance policies, IDs, all need to be in a carrying bag, preferably with a zipper. So like mine, all of it is in a patent leather makeup case, a nice size makeup case I got. I've now put all my legal documents, everything pertaining to my government name and who I am is in that damn case. Case of an emergency, I know it's right in the closet going out the front door. Grab that case and run out. This is the latest on the person arrested pertaining to the fires, okay? This is uploaded 2 hours ago. Officers in Azusa, California have arrested a man suspected of arson following a brush fire that broke out in Pioneer Park. As wildfires ravaged Southern California, Azusa Police Department apprehended unhoused man Jose Carranza Escobar on suspicion of igniting the fire at around 11:40 p.m. on Friday as he was standing near the flames. Los Angeles County Fire Department quickly responded and extinguished the blaze in Pioneer Park. During the investigation, Carranza Escobar admitted to starting the fire and was arrested for arson, said APD in a statement. He was subsequently booked at the Azusa Police Department jail and is currently being held in custody. The arrest comes after Brian J. White and several of his Woodland Hills neighbors apprehended an arson suspect who was carrying a blowtorch near the Kenneth fire. So this is two different people, you guys. Ultimately, LAPD said Friday morning that they didn't have enough evidence to arrest the person for arson. He was arrested for felony probation violation. So this must be the Brian J. White, who had the blowtorch near the Kenneth fire, because they were wondering if he set the Kenneth fire. But he was arrested for felony probation. So what was he on probation for? Don't know. Fires have broken out in Pacific Palisades, Eaton Canyon, Malibu, Hollywood Hills, and other areas around Los Angeles County amid a life-threatening and destructive windstorm that picked up Tuesday. Okay? As of Saturday, at least 11 people have died in Southern California wildfires, and the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department has received 13 missing reports related to the fires. So we have 11 people dead and 13 people reported missing. President Joe Biden, who extended his Los Angeles trip on Wednesday to visit first responders and those affected, declares the fires a major disaster. Over 100,000 people have been ordered to evacuate communities impacted by the Southern California wildfires, wrote Biden on X. At least 2 people have been killed, and many more are injured. It's devastating to the residents of Southern California. We are with you. So repeat, the guy who has been suspected of starting the Kenneth fire, they do not have enough to hold him for that, but he is in custody for a felony probation. He was arrested for felony probation violation. The guy who started a fire Friday around 11:40 p.m., which was yesterday, he was standing near the flames. Jose Carranza Escobar. This was yesterday. He is in custody. Okay? So we're talking about 2 separate people. 1 days ago, Brian J. White, I thought he was a Hispanic. They said he was speaking Spanish and English. That was in Woodland Hills, where he was tackled by the neighbors. He's been held on a felony probation violation, not the actual fire. Now, yesterday, Jose Carranza Escobar is in custody for arson. That's the latest. Lord have mercy. Okay, Lisa. Thanks for joining us. The looting, yes. I think there were 5, if I'm not mistaken, arrested for the looting. You have all of what? That's why I have all of it in my pocket. Ivan, please. Y'all stop the nonsense. Jesus. Thank you all for joining me. Yes. 80 miles winds for today. Yes, the winds are picking up tonight. Yes. So that's my advice to all of you before I check out of here. Please put all your personal items in a carry-on bag with a zipper, just so, you know, when you're rushing, running, nothing can fly out, fall out, because, you know, when you're in a hurry and you're panicking, you don't want anything falling out. That's why you need to designate, because I designate everything in envelopes and baggies. Receipts for things I bought, I want to keep receipts too. All my, legal documents of things, like where I live, lease, all that kind of stuff in that makeup case. It's a nice size makeup case. And all my legal notes and things are in there, receipts, it's all in there. So as I said, in case of an emergency, I've got to go, I just grab the whole makeup case, I'm done. So that's my advice to you. Wherever you live, you need to have all your documents together anyway. Even if there's no fire, no flood, you need to, have all your documents together in case you ever get sick, you get hurt, you get in an accident. You may not even be able to speak or talk to tell somebody, where to go to get your documents. If they go around looking in your home and apartment, they're looking at case, and they'll see, oh, you got all your you know, your documents, your wills, your passport, everything is in there together. And actually, you don't carry your social security card around on you because that's a very bad idea in case you're robbed or your purse is stolen. You don't want to have your your social security card. And you do have the option of putting your social security card on your driver's license. They'll ask you that when you renew your license or you're going to get your license for the first time. I don't recommend you putting your social security number on your driver's license because of theft, identity theft. Naturally, there are going to be scammers. People are going to get a hold of your phone numbers. People in California, they're going to have people calling your numbers, texting, asking you personal questions, probably asking you, do you have a house on this street? You know, do you want to donate? Don't answer any phone calls or text messages from any unknown numbers. You don't need to be doing that anyway, because that's how they get your personal information. They want to first verify your name. You stupidly answer to your government name. You know, somebody says, hey, may I speak to Joe Brown? And you say, oh, yeah, this is he. And then they just make up something like, oh, I'm just calling to check about your bicycle you have for sale. And you know you ain't putting no bicycle up for sale. They tried that with me not too long ago, asking about a house for sale. Hi, is this such and such? Do you have a house for sale? I said, first of all, I don't know who you're looking for. And no, I don't have a house for sale. So I hung up. Don't you know they called me right back, trying to call me back? These people are persistent out here. So they're getting your name and your phone number from God knows where. And naturally, you use your number for many things. You use your number, email when you sign up for discounts on cards, discount cards, CVS, Walgreens, Big Lots. You don't know where that information is going. You don't know who gets a hold of it. When you run that damn debit card, same thing. Anybody can take the card, look on the back, take a picture of the front, take a picture of the back with the CVV number. You are doomed. Because now they can go sit up and order shit off of Amazon, Walmart, Temu. And you're not going to know until your account starts getting depleted or somebody from the bank calls and says, well, we got a lot of purchases, so you got to be careful. Because I don't think nobody thinks about that when they hand their card over, go out to eat. She puts that little card in the tray, you sign your receipt. They are out of sight with your damn card. So all it takes is for somebody to take a picture of your debit card, credit card, turn it over the back, get the 3 digits. There's your identity theft. We take a lot for granted using those damn cards. Keep telling people that. Fool's way as well. A lot of you love Temu, love Amazon, love the internet. I hear it all the time. Oh, I order stuff all the time. I don't ever go in the mall. Better be careful, because that's how my account got hacked. First time I ordered a Bluetooth box, $50, took out the account from Washington State. I don't know anybody in Washington State. Bank flagged it, issued me a new card. There you have it. You got to be careful. Really have to be careful running that debit card. I know a lot of you are addicted to running that card, but I don't think it's necessary to run that debit card all the time. Go to the bank and get your money out. Keep some money on you. You should always have money on you anyway. Always keep some cash on you in case you go somewhere where the card won't work. There are many times the machines don't work. I've been places recently. Walmart Harris Smart Style weeks ago. They only wanted cash because the credit card machine wasn't working. Because they just reopened. So that's what I'm saying. You're going to go places that the machine might not even work. And you're sitting there wanting to buy stuff and you can't because the machine don't work. So this is why you need to have cash on you. And trust me, when you're in a line at the grocery store, you definitely don't want to be in there and the damn machine stops working. You got a buggy full of groceries. Just saying. Just giving some helpful advice in these dire times. Thank you. Thank you, Glitters and Gold. Happy Saturday to you as well. Thank you. Wow, really? At the Popeye's Chicken? Wow. Yeah, I'm just throwing out some, just some advice, to try to, keep you from having to be, tangled up with the bank and getting stressed out and want to pull all your damn hair out. You just got to be careful now with everything. There's a scammer trying everything they can. That's why I said, Don't answer the phone to calls that don't look familiar. Talk to your carrier about spam calls, signing up for the spam, detection. You got it. And right now, this is the perfect opportunity for scams. They're telling people that right now in California, there are going to be people trying to scam people out of their money. So people who are in dire situations, they really need to be careful of people in California, because this is the time that somebody's going to be digging California numbers, calling them about their house, their car, all type of crazy nonsense, and also trying to get other people to donate money. And, it's going to be real bad. And people have just got to get out the habit of answering the phone and answering to their name. Don't answer to your government name, maiden name on a phone call. Always pause phone and you do not recognize the number. Let them talk first. Trust me, it works. I don't know how many times this week I answered the phone and I did not speak. What do? They immediately hang up. Then that means they didn't want anything. So all you block, delete. And if you want to call, the national fraud hotline in your state to send the number in, go right ahead. That's the only way it's going to stop. You register those phone numbers, because I've done it recently. But when you see a number pop up from New Jersey, Philadelphia, you don't know nobody there, just pick up the phone, but don't say anything. Just hold the line. They will hang up, because they want you to say hello. You don't answer, they hang up. And sometimes they'll go ahead and run the automated, or it might be a real person. Hi, I'm looking for such and such about your dad. Well, whatever the scam is. Just hang up. Don't engage. Be careful of those small stores too. Ones they get card. Okay, get your card too. Oh, yeah. The ATM. Yeah, you have to be careful with the ATMs too. Because I had that happen once. Spring or summer 2023. I was trying to get some money. I think use the Cash App to pay for gas or something, and they couldn't print out my amount receipt. It was something crazy. I told myself, see, we're not gonna be putting the Cash App card in any ATMs. That's out. Trying to get money. I don't do that now. I get my cash ahead of time. If I know I'm going to be going somewhere for the week or weekend, I get my cash out ahead of time. And I either get it from the store when I'm buying something, or I go to the bank directly. So that's your best bet. Get your money out directly from the bank. Or like Walmart, you can get money off the card when you're shopping and there's no fee. Some stores do charge a $1 fee, for getting cash back, like Dollar General, Kroger, grocery store, they'll charge you $1. It's up to you if you want to pay the $1 or not. But I'm just saying, you should always keep cash on you to help keep down fraud on your debit card. You need to also be aware, once again, of phishing attempts sent by text messages and emails. People trying to tell you won something through Cash App, claim the money, all that spam shit that's in the Gmail. Just giving you some helpful tips to keep you from getting scammed. Point 11, where do you live? Oh, you can Google the phone numbers? Oh, I didn't know that. Well, and that's the best thing to do. You don't notice the number, don't answer. Because trust me, if it's somebody important, and let's say their phone broke and they had to go use somebody else's phone to call you, trust me, they're going to text or they're going to leave a voicemail. Hey, Susie, it's Dick. My phone broke. I had to use somebody else's phone. Please pick up. Send a text. Hey, I'm using somebody's phone. Please pick up. It's an emergency. And then you go ahead and call them back because you recognize the person or who you think it is. And once again, you'll find out if it's true or not. You just call the number back And if it sounds like your friend, then okay, then you know it's your friend calling you or your relative or whomever. That's why I say, you know, you don't have to engage, but sometimes, you know, you might want to answer the phone only because a person could be stranded, they could be hurt, and it could be somebody calling and say, hey, there's a car on the side of the road. It's a car wreck. You know, the person's on a stretcher. They had us call, you know, it could be anything. But I'm just saying you still have to be careful, you know, answering the phone to unknown numbers, blocked numbers, so on and so forth, because they're very savvy. And I don't care what anybody says. The people are getting your numbers from other people selling information. Companies lie and say, oh, we have a policy, we don't sell your information. I don't know if I believe that. I told a company that the other day that got my personal information. I said, hell, where'd you get my name from to be sending me some old junk mail? And they said, oh, somebody put your name on our registry on Facebook or some junk. And I thought, well, ain't nobody got no business putting my name on nothing to send no mail, because nobody even knew where I moved to. So see, that didn't make no sense. And then he said, oh, well, if you had a change of address, the post office automatically puts your new address on the mail and send you the mail. So he said, well, whoever signed you up for this magazine, they had access to your address from where you last lived. I said, oh, okay. I said, well, it probably was just a prank, but it's okay. I know how to handle it. Could you please remove my name? And yeah, we're going to remove your name anyway, because we don't want to be sending out, you know, our content to people, you know, that don't want the magazine. It just shows you, it's just, the devil is busy. That's all I'm going to say. The devil is exactly busy, just like what you see here. Just horrific situation out in Southern California. And as I had put the polls up on the community page earlier today, I said to myself, just looking at this area view from a drone or whatever, do I really want to live in this? I want you to look at that. This is considered the valley in California, which is so bizarre. Because when I think of the valley, I think of something low. This don't look low to me. But anyway, do you want to live in this? I want you to look at that before I check out of here. This is an area view. Do you want to live in that? Anywhere. Okay, Michigan. Okay. Yes, Lori, I heard about that. You know, that's interesting you mentioned that, Lori, because there was a certain person I was trying to get some information on, you know, certain content we've talked about on this network. And he wasn't in the LinkedIn, which I thought was strange. You're a professional person. You're not in LinkedIn. I got a name off of the number because I did a reverse number information. It came up somebody's name that happens to allegedly live in the area he lived in or lives in. For all I know, the person that I had been talking to, they probably didn't even give me their real damn name. So you don't know, because if you don't have any way to verify through an ID, address, you haven't, you know what I'm saying? You haven't met the person's friends. You don't know who the hell you're talking to out here. I'm just keeping it real. So I understand what you're saying. Some people probably don't want their information on the internet just so they don't get hacked. But you can get hacked a multitude of ways, because you got to give your phone number to somebody, doctor's office. You got to give your number out. And everybody wants an email now. Everything has a portal where you pay your rent. The management company, they have portals. Put in a maintenance request. It's a portal. So there goes your phone number, email. So that's my point. You got to give that name and email out at some point. You sign up for discounts for grocery stores, big lots. First thing they ask, email, phone number to verify the account. See, that's your name and number can get out there by so many means. So many means. Well, I didn't, Christ is Lord. I didn't know you had a YouTube account. I didn't know Jesus had a YouTube account. Well, I learned something new tonight. Let's see if you can get back in. Did y'all see Jesus was in the chat? You ought to be shaming yourself. Blasphemous. Talking about serious business during this live stream. People coming in here just so disrespectful. Death Valley, yes, exactly. Because that's what they've been referring to. This content, if you go back to the beginning of this live, they keep calling it LA, the desert, the desert, the desert. So you know this area, you're from here or you moved there, you learn the area, you know what to expect now with California weather. High tides, Santa Ana winds, wildfires, mudslides in Northern California. It also floods in California. So you know that you're getting the gamut of many things now residing in California. So it's up to you, as I just said. Do you want to continue living in California? I know people can't just up and move. I'm not a dodo bird. But you have to be realistic as well. Is this somewhere you want to continue living your life, your worldly goods? Naturally, you can always get another blender, Roku TV. Can't replace your life, but you still got to have somewhere to sleep. And I don't know if people want to keep sleeping in California. That's all I'm saying. Now, I get it. They had an earthquake. What was it, yesterday? Did y'all hear about that? Ha! He said, I'll take 2 to see. It's so crazy. Yeah, Jesus was on YouTube. He was just in the chat. Christ is Lord. I didn't know. Jesus had Wi-Fi. So Jesus got Roku, Wi-Fi, a cell phone, and he decided to come over to the Vault XL. Well, thank you. Some of the people in the chat will probably say, well, Jesus, while you're hanging over here at the Vault, can you help put the fires out? Ding, ding, ding. Don't make me get ignorant now. One more thing before I go. I want to talk about this. See, I keep forgetting because all this nonsense is throwing me off. What was I talking about? Yes, earthquake. Thank you, baby. See, when you talk about foolishness, you forget what you're supposed to be talking about. That's why they come in here, because they want you to address them. And that takes the focus off of what you're supposed to be talking about. It's all an orchestrated plan. That's why you're not supposed to respond, see? All right, this is content from a day ago. Yes, I'm going to give you the information, then I'm going to leave. California was hit by an earthquake on Friday after days of devastating wildfires sweeping through the state. A 3.7 earthquake was reported in San Francisco around 7 a.m., with over 5,000 residents reporting to have felt it, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. The center was about 5 miles away from the Golden Gate Bridge and 2 miles from the Great Highway, according to the Daily Mail. A 2.2 magnitude aftershock, followed by another 2.5, came after the initial quake. On Thursday, another 3.0 magnitude earthquake was reported less than 100 miles away. No injuries were reported as of now. The earthquakes arrived as parts of the Los Angeles area have been up in flames over the past week, with many residents losing their homes. President Joe Biden wrote on X, to the Southern California families impacted by this disaster, I know you are in a living nightmare. I promise we're going to help you get through this and eventually recover and rebuild. If you need verification for this information, the Daily Beast is the source. 3.7 magnitude earthquake in San Francisco, Friday at 7 a.m. Yes, some people probably didn't know about the earthquake. Hello, sweetie. Hi. Welcome. Welcome to the Vault XL, honey. Welcome. Welcome, King. Welcome, everybody, here to this network. Yes, there was an earthquake yesterday in California, San Francisco, 3.7, 2.5 aftershock. I may put a short in the YouTube queue because I'm sure some of you did not know about the earthquake and you don't hear much about it, because all they're talking about are the new places that have been going up in smoke. They're in Mandeville Canyon today fighting wildfires. I believe Mulholland Drive is up in that general area. For those of you who are familiar with Mulholland Drive, it's an infamous street that's been mentioned so many times in movies over the years. Movies filmed in California. There is a movie called Mulholland Drive, if you didn't know. Encino, Brentwood, naturally Pacific Palisades. Who else? Eaton. These are all the places that had fires. And some of those fires have gotten down a bit. So just in case you didn't know that. But the problem is that the wind is supposed to pick up tonight into tomorrow, and then Monday into Wednesday, and then the lady said something about rain at the end of the week. So hopefully even the smallest bit of rain will help. Sweet Jesus. And trust me, California needs more than 10, 20% of rain. They need like 100% of rain. Dear God. Oh, you're welcome, Pointy Lover. Thank you. You're welcome. That's the latest. Let's see what they're saying, and I'm going to leave.
Firefighting aircraft. There's always a question about the aircraft's ability to fly in the wind. And while there is maximum limitations of aircraft flying in the wind, the bigger issue is that the retardant and water coming from them can effectively hit their targets. Firefighters were focused on rescuing people, evacuating residents, and doing structured defense.
Oh, I had no idea.
And we knew water was going to be a challenge. So as we continue to prepare into this next event we're coming forward to, we're increasing resources, as Director Ward said, to over 14,000 first responders, over 1,219 fire engines across California and our partners in the western states, including Oregon, Washington, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico,
wow,
Texas, and Montana, just to name a few.
That's good.
And we continue to get support across the states and internationally. Last night, there was a flare-up on the Palisades incident, in which time we took days resources, some that were down to rest from hard firefighting efforts, brought them back into the firefight to try to keep the fire away from Mandeville Canyon. They continue today to work across those areas as well. In addition, preparation to the water tenders that are available, the 84 aircraft that we talked about in part from agencies, from private agencies, and from the California National Guard. We are coming together to fight the fight. Finally, 154 bulldozers. Now, it is not common, more rare than not, that in preparation for this event, we set up a mobilization center. That mobilization center was emptied last evening as the Palisades incident started to help fight the Palisades incident, and today resources are moving back into that mobilization center to prepare for the next event. It's important that the public is prepared, and specifically in those counties that I just addressed. I want you to take steps to ensure, if you live in Southern California and should a fire occur, that you heed the warnings of your first responders, both fire and law enforcement. Take steps. I plead you to take steps to prevent the next spark. You can always find real-time, up-to-date information by going to fire.ca.gov. and steps to take to prepare yourself in the event you have to evacuate at readyforwildfire.org. It is now my honor to introduce General Matthew Beavers, the Adjutant General of the California Military Department.
Thanks, Joe. And as the director mentioned, I'm Major General Matthew Beavers, I'm the Adjutant General of California. Give you a quick report on our posture relative to National Guardsmen deployed across the fire-affected area in the LA Basin. We have 1,680 soldiers and airmen currently employed in this emergency. Over 1,000 are currently manning traffic control points 24/7 every day in support of allied agencies across the LA Basin, CHP, LA City, LA County. And we are making good on their requests, not in hours, not in days, but in minutes. We're pre-positioned the right place, the right time to deliver right effects in support of our law enforcement partners, and we continue to do that. We continue to ensure that our posture works very, very well in case we have to grow. We are in very, very good position to make sure that happens. The balance of our force primarily dedicated to the next two things. Number one, Type 2 hand crews supporting CAL FIRE. Over 500 soldiers and airmen are currently employed in that endeavor or being deployed into that endeavor. And finally, our aviation assets. 10 helicopters, bucket-equipped helicopters are available. Modular airborne firefighting system C-130s, 6 of those are available. 2 actually just launched minutes before I came to the podium. So I think we're uniquely postured. We continue to grow our strength as needed to ensure that we can anticipate needs ahead of time and ensure that we can meet those needs before it becomes a challenge. Thank you.
They haven't had rain in 8 months. In case you didn't know.
General, before we take questions, I'd like to remind those Southern California residents impacted by these disasters that assistance is already available to you. OES is in lockstep with FEMA and has mobilized in Southern California to provide disaster assistance. Assistance workers are already on the ground taking applications in shelters. Tomorrow will include libraries, and disaster recovery centers will be open within another day or two. But you can apply for assistance already. You can go to www.disasterassistance.gov or call 1-800-621-3362 to register for assistance. And lastly, I'd like to say and remind you what Chief Tyler said about being prepared. You must be vigilant. As he said, ensure that you're following your local officials, but also prepare yourselves for even getting those kinds of evacuation warnings or evacuation orders. Prepare a go bag. Make sure you have medications. Make sure you have supplies and for your pets, your children, your family members. And then check on your neighbors and your friends to ensure that they're doing the same exact thing. From there, Amy.
This is the weather for the upcoming week in California.
Do we have any questions in the room?
No rain. Where does she see rain?
See none. We will offer the Cal OES media line now, media@caloes.ca.gov for questions. A news release with these details will be coming out shortly. And if you'd like to, those of you who are watching online, please contact that email address and we will make the leadership here available for interviews as needed. Thank you.
All right, so that wraps up the news conference. It was conducted by the Office of Emergency Services. That is an office out of the governor's office. Getting some new information there about what it has taken in terms of resources and how they've shifted resources to accommodate this firefight.
Live pictures, because we don't want to confuse you. This is the Palisades fire, and during, we've seen, by the way, C-10 out there just dropping that FOS check so beautifully. So more relief there as it relates to the Palisades fire. But the new information about evacuation orders being lifted, this is in relation to the Eaton fire in the Altadena and Pasadena areas. A lot to go over here. So as of 3 p.m., evacuation orders have been lifted for the city of Bradbury and Bradbury Estates, the city of Duarte, in La Cañada Flint Ridge from Angeles Crest Highway east to Oakwood Avenue, north of Angeles Crest Highway, at the curve west to Haskell Street, north of Foothill Boulevard to Nightway, and the intersection of Gold Canyon Trail at Crown Avenue east to Varro Road. So those areas were in evacuation orders. Those have been lifted.
As was the area around the NASA Jet Propulsion Lab. So that's a good news indeed.
The JPL, which was saved, thank goodness. Evacuation orders changed to evacuation warnings for these following areas.
That information I do not have. You have that
okay, in La Cañada, Flint Ridge, north of Nightway, Gold Canyon Trail, and east of Oakwood Avenue, Angeles Crest Highway, at the curve to Gold Mesa Road and Starlight Crest Drive. That's a whole lot of information, but it's good news. That means that the firefight is going pretty well as it relates to Eaton.
It's progress.
It is progress.
We will take whatever we can get.
Yes, I mean, for instance, when we woke up this morning, it was 11% containment for Eaton. It's now at 15% containment. We will take it.
Yeah.
And there's also been some progress for the Palisades fire. The acreage has increased because of what we saw overnight. The flare-up from Friday night into today, the officials were saying that added about another 1,000 acres. So now we're at 22,600 plus acres. Palisades fire at 11% containment on this Saturday afternoon. Again, this is the 5th day of the Palisades fire. We have all this information. I'm putting it out on my socials right now because that was a lot to go over. So you can follow me on X. You can follow me on Instagram. All the information will be there at Marla Tellez. That's Tellez.
All right, we continue to look at our Skyfox view of what's going on with the Palisades fire. That is a lovely picture. I don't see any actual fire line there. I don't see any glowing line of flame. What I do see, though, is a lot of vegetation, and the vegetation is, of course, of concern now that we don't have the kinds of winds that we had overnight on Tuesday.
Look how smoky it is.
The vegetation that people will worry about. Samata and other
meteorologists. It's just 351 in California.
How the winds themselves can have its own microclimate, and then that will create a situation where an area will.
That's an area view. I believe that's Mandeville Canyon. As you see, the smoke is thick. It is a danger, hazard to be outside. So please don't be outside doing activities, hiking. You'll have to find another time and place to do all those type of things. At the moment, nearly a dozen people are believed to be dead. The Los Angeles County Sheriff saying he expects that number to rise. Devastating fires spread across Southern California amid dry and windy conditions, leaving officials scrambling to contain the historic destruction. Last reading, they haven't had rain in about 8 months. Going into the new year last year, they had a lot of rain and floods in 2024. So now it's opposite. Floods, rain last year, drought, heat, dryness, fires. 22,000 acres destroyed, thousands of structures, 11% contained. Eaton Fire in Altadena now stands at more than 14,100 acres and is 15% contained. More than 100,000 people are under evacuation orders. LA Health is sending out a warning pertaining to the air quality. LA County Public Health smoke advisory for Saturday evening that he said would likely last longer. Large quantities of small particles, gases, and water vapor that is dangerous for vulnerable groups such as children, elderly. In those small particles that get into our noses and throats can cause more throats and headaches. Sore throats and headaches. Residents are warned to stay indoors during this advisory. Anyone who needs to work outside should wear an N95 mask. 16,000 people as of January 11, 5:56 p.m. has registered for FEMA assistance. 16,000. That's up from when I last brought you a report earlier during this live stream. The official added that at the president's direction, the Department of Defense has made more than 1,000 beds available for displaced personnel and family in bases in the region. The National Guard has made 1,000 personnel available to support response efforts, including 250 people with firefighting capabilities, according to the officials. Well, that's wonderful news because I did not know the National Guard, they were trained in firefighting, so that's new information. So that is very helpful. I brought you also the stats pertaining to how many people have come to California to aid local fire departments this area that you see that's inflamed, Mandeville has 2 fire departments, 2 fire companies, company 1 and company 2. And that's what you always have to remember when you're dealing with fires, is how many fire departments are in the area, how many people are manned, water access, all of that counts, plus airplanes to fly in to drop the retardant. Okay? You're talking about being up in these canyons. You have to use common sense. Long roads, narrow roads. Fire truck has to be able to get in. Run a fire hose. As I showed you earlier, they were running a long fire hose to put the fires out, digging up the soil. So they're doing it by hand. Digging up the soil with tools in the canyon, and also running the fire hose to put out the fire. A lot of hard work. So we do need to show some respect for the firemen who are risking their lives every day, morning, noon, and night to fight these fires. Eden Fire, 15% contained, 14,000 acres burned. Okay, 14,117. 7,000 structures have burned. Once again, 15% contained. Also, there's a warning about power shutoffs during the high wind events to prevent more fires. Yes, there's a challenge to deal with, but it's certainly better than having another fire start. I'm sure many of you didn't think about that. Turning off the power, okay? So there will be power shutoffs. So this is why I kept saying about the people who are fussing and cussing about going back home. Going home to what? Your area may have power off, water off. Why would you want to go back to your house with no power, no water? And as one man said, he and his wife or whomever came home, there was ash inside of their home. So now we got to figure out, how did the ash get inside of the house? So it's more to it than just, I got to go back. I got to go back. I got to see if it's burnt down. I want to go home. You're not Dorothy. This is not the Wizard of Oz. Snap out of it. You all have got to get it together. You've got to mentally get yourselves together. This is serious. There's no need of you going back home to no power, no water. Come on. You got to drink water. You got to toilet. You got to take a shower. And they do not want you using water to put fires out at your house. It is recommended you do not do this. So that means you do not need to stay behind to fight a fire. You're not a fireman. You're not trained. You need more than a flimsy water hose to put out a fire. You're risking your life to fight a fire. And you're also taking water resources from the reserves. That's my commentary, everybody. Prayers for LA County. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $BeGanji, 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream, 3-hour, 35-minute live. Feel free to go back to the beginning to get the stats of everything that's going on. As you know, things can change due to the fact that this is a dire situation. Many other areas will be affected as the fires continue to grow. Please take heed. You smell smoke. Get your butt out of that. Grab all your personal devices, monies, grab your jewelry, whatever you can. But if your house is engulfed, run. Run like hell. Don't worry about that stuff. You can buy another diamond ring. You can buy another Roku TV, espresso machine. Save your life, save your pets. But do not go into a burning structure. Do not try to put out a fire with your water hose because you're taking water from the reserve. Biden administration has implemented 1,000 beds in case you need somewhere to sleep. I refuse to believe that any agency is going to allow Californians to be sleeping on the streets. I pray there's adequate help out there. Thank you all so much for joining me. Thank you, ladies, gentlemen, who came in, those who are not familiar with this network. God bless all of you. Stay warm and just as they say, if you see something, say something. Be a part of the solution, not the problem. Mind the children. Prayers for LA County. Prayers for our firefighters who are doing due diligence. Prayers for everyone involved. Just prayers, okay? Oh, Lord have mercy. Yes, pray for rain because they've been in a drought almost a year. That's a long time not to have any water. So I don't know that any of these were man-made, the beginning fires, let me say. I haven't heard that they were man-made, but we do now have 2 arrests pertaining to 2 fires this week. But one they can't prove, and that's the one where the neighbors jumped the guy, and he's being held on a felony probation violation. So please stay out of these areas. Please don't set any fires. Why do you want to set fires? Please stop. Please do not pilfer around. 6 p.m. curfew to 6 a.m. If you are caught pilfering around, you will go to jail. If you loot, you will go to jail. If you don't leave your home during a mandated evacuation, you will go to jail. Please listen to what I'm saying. You will go to jail if you loot, if you are walking about neighborhoods that are off limits, barricaded. You're going to jail. If they tell you to get your ass out and you won't go, you're going to jail. It's the law. You don't have to like it, but it is to keep everyone safe, keep the properties safe that are still standing up, and to also keep you safe in case you stay behind and then you realize your house is engulfed and you want to try to get your tail out of there. Because that is what has happened with many people. They left, came back, or saw their house burning on the news, or they stayed behind and their house caught on fire. You don't want to be one of those people. Thank you for your time. You have been listening to the Vault XL.